Well, my friends. Give it up for Benoit, guys. Yeah. My guy with all the info. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Good to see you. What up? What's up with you all today? Sorry, I'm really late. I'm real late. I'm like super late, like a full hour late. Big apologies for that, guys. It's been a busy morning. I had a podcast. Yes, I did. And that podcast started a little late. And then I needed to get a video published, and I actually didn't get it published. I ran it down to the last second, but I'm looking at it here, and it's still processing. So, good news is, I do have a new video ready for you guys. Bad news is, I'm probably going to have to release it during this stream. So, you're going to have to make that hard decision. But, we are going to be looking at some fun information today. Benoit, CTO of CIG, has gotten onto his seat, his good chair, during Star Citizen Live with Jared. And they have talked about a lot of information. I let a summary out of this yesterday. That summary was not my full read through. That was me. I was able to watch a lot of it, but a lot of it I had to sort of jump through. I listened to it at 1.5 speed. I definitely didn't get to get as detailed a listen through as I would like. So today is going to be that day, but I did want to get something quick out to everybody who wanted that faster news in the summary. And yeah. Before we do that, though, I realized I didn't check out the dev tracker in the last few days, so let's check out and see if anything happened there. And hi, everybody. Hello. How you doing? Good to see you. Mr. Lurchlord Maverick was in here dropping so many emotes before I even got here. 6:30 in the morning, dude. Are you having a good breakfast at least? 98 Infinity, good to see you, dude. Avocado, Mihai. Welcome in, you guys. Mr. Lurchlord, dude, you'll hear it on the podcast when you listen to it. For supporters, that should be out by tomorrow. For everybody else, keep an eye out for it on Monday. I accidentally finished the podcast by telling everyone to stay shiny. I don't know where the that comes from. Like, I mean, I know where it comes from. It's you, Lurch. You got into my head. Rent free. But I've never said that before. So thank you for that. Vastin, good to see you in chat, man. Colt Kimber, Necaclaius, welcome in, guys. Axis, how you doing, dude? Death Sweet and Gimbal Lock. Gimbal, I'm looking forward to hearing how the things are going with your things. The combat and the stuff. Space Marine, welcome in. Fola, I see a Fola in the chat. Sorry, Fola deserves a couple good air horns. PK, my man PKP. What's up, Stellar, Chewy, Diva, Anno? Welcome in, guys. Anno, it's been a while, dude. At least since you've been active in the chat. How have you been, dude? Use the real video for the short tomato break. How is my Friday going? My Friday's been busy, but it's been good. It's been good. I'm feeling it. A hype train. Dude, I'm not hearing anything from Twitch. Are you guys hearing Twitch alerts? What in the sweet damn Colt Kimber, dude? Thank you for the sub. I'm sorry I missed you at 25 months. My friend, that's more than 2 years. That's like a long enough time for multiple mushrooms to germinate in a moist forest bed.
It sucked my tomatoes up!
Exactly, the tomatoes. Space Marine, thank you as well. 28 months, though. Also, right up there in that moisture and mushroom time frame. Chief Tygon with 13 months, dude. Thank you for subbing up. Thanks for the support. My friend, thanks for being here. Zamotic, good to see you in the chat. Mr. Razor, Pedro, Space Guy. How y'all doing? We can hear that? Yeah, you can hear all this stuff? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I heard that. Rockstar, good to see you in chat, dude. And Vartano. Anno, bald? Are you saying you're bald? I'm gonna go bald?
Oh no. Oh no.
Thank you very much. I could hear the guy like kind of breathing in my ears. Oh shit. Just gay. Thank you very much. My dude. Whoa, Colt, bro. What? Wait, guys, hit it with the 1-2 combo. Let's hear it for Toes Gang today. All right, kicking us off. I see you. Hold on. I gotta save Mihai Zorus and Anonymous. Anonymous is like one of our top Toes gangs this year. The whole damn year. Thank you very much. This board is basically a whiteboard now. Oh, PKP! Wrapping it up, dude. Hype train, let's go. What the fuck? Mr. Just Game. Hailing from 1945, old man, an oldie but a goodie as always, Just Game. Thank you, Colt. Oh! I always break the chalk when it's long. I always break the chalk when it's long, bro. PKP. I kind of just want to leave. Can I just leave it as PKP? My man, P. I don't know who coined that phrase, but I appreciate it. Or that name. That was a good name. Good nickname. I appreciate it. It was a good one. Oh, we're gonna get a giveaway going? Yo, shout out to my man Twitch over here. We actually, I think we've got a Hermes to give away, don't we? Wash that thing. Hey man, it's seasoned. It's spiced, okay? All right, like I said, let's check out the dev tracker real quick. Before the hold on, we got a hype train going on. We need something more interesting than this. More interesting. It's like too calming of music for a hype train. There we go. Hell yeah. Ooh, dude. Oh, I would read the monthly report to this. This is good stuff. A little slide. I feel like I'm in rush hour. Chris Tucker or something. All right. Let us see what has been said. Look who's active in the dev chat. Sylvan. My man is constantly answering questions and support about that was short. 40 seconds of good fun, huh? Okay. Well, I liked it. Constantly answering questions about the VR stuff going on. I need to get in touch with him and try and get my VR stuff figured out. Before that, though, really, it was just stuff about the roadmap roundup. So nothing too recent when it comes to the dev tracker. I do appreciate Sophin's support there, though. And Elliot, you have a little message here of thanks to the people. What's up, Mike? How you doing? Welcome in. Good to see you for a live show. This one's going to be a good one. Alrighty, folks. So, Star Citizen Live is a good chance for us to see the devs talk a little bit more freely about the stuff that's going on. But over the last year, they have very much downsized its reach. It used to be they'd bring on any dev, and now they could all talk about all the things. This is how a lot of things were said that the community latched onto, and when those things did not happen, we would quote it and bring it up all the time and wonder where it is and take things as promises. So they've started to have more of these talks focus on the people who are at the pillar positions, people like Rich Tyrer and I mean, not Chris Roberts, but that kind of situation. One of those people is Benoit. He's the CTO, and he is very interested in sharing with the community. He's a big part of the community. He's a big part of Star Citizen. For those who don't know where he came from, he actually has been with Turbulent since 2001. And let's see. There's a good video here. Well, I say it's good. It is. I am biased, but save this if you want to learn more about Benoit and Turbulent. I'll drop it in the chat for you here. This is, oh my god, that's such an ugly link. This is kind of the story of how Turbulent was brought on, because Turbulent was its own company up until a couple years ago, but it's been working on Star Citizen since like 2014, and Benoit's been at Turbulent since then. So he's been one of the longer people who's been on this project. And over that time, he's really become, I think, a real believer in what they're trying to do. And so has become CTO of the company, let his company be acquired, obviously took some ownership stake in this all. So he's very much into this, and he's got his hands in the pie, so to speak. He's definitely, if you want to talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about, he's one of them. So we're going to listen to this talk he had with Jared. It's the third now. I would advise going back and listening to the other two because they're going to be evergreen, good content to listen to. But throughout this, I'll be pausing, giving commentary. I'll probably cut that out of the video you guys see at the end of the year. But if you want to come join us live for these, they're also quite fun. We get into some heated debates. All right, let's get into this one.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Star Citizen Live Tech Talk with Benoit Beauséjour. I'm your host, Jared Huckabee, and if you've never seen Star Citizen Live before, lucky you. No, it's where we take usually about an hour out of our week and we chat with developers on these special shows that we do with our good friend, Chief Technology Officer and all-around swell guy, Benoit Beauséjour. We usually take a bit longer. Last time we took 3 hours. The first time, the time before that, it was close to 3 hours. It was maybe 2.5 hours. This time we're clocking in at about 2 hours because we have meetings that we have to go to at about.
See if they actually hit that. Oh yeah, about 2 hours. Good job.
Yeah. I'm running out of gas. What else do I do in the intro? Oh, I got to introduce the person. So, I've mentioned this person in Benoit Beauséjour a few times. Yeah. So let's go ahead and meet Benoit Beauséjour. Benoit?
Hi.
Hi.
I have to say, I'm impressed with your pronunciation.
He has gotten better. I remember when he first started having Benoit on the show. I don't even think he'd say his last name. I can't remember for sure, but I'm pretty sure it started out a little rough.
12 years now.
No, but it keeps getting better. No. Every time it's better.
Well, I practice privately.
There you go. I know. Thank you, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Tell everybody who you are and what you do for Star Citizen.
So I'm Benoit Beauséjour. You want me to say it again or no? Okay, good.
No.
I am the Chief Technology Officer at CIG. So I guess the best way to describe it is if it has a computer chip in it, I'm kind of involved in a way. So I run the engineering teams.
Oh my God. It's like even our rings and watches have computer chips in them now.
Star Engine Group, and I meddle with all areas of the game, trying to get us forward to our 1.0 release.
Meddle's a good word.
Yeah.
My blood sugar is weird or something I can't see with my glasses. I'm seeing better without my glasses, so we're going to take off my glasses. Although I'm going to have to do the show like this. Now I can't see everything else, but I can see this. This is important. All right, so on these shows, on these special Tech Talk shows, I think, we are going to cover a variety of topics. So these topics have all been discussed ahead of time. We worked out. Benoit, as involved as he is with so many aspects of the game, still needs to be afforded the opportunity to check in with other directors and get updates on what they're doing and everything, so that we can provide you the most up-to-date and accurate information. So this will be a show.
See, it's not a mistake that they're not having everybody come on these shows and talk anymore. That became a problem for them. Like, as much as the open development is good, if they talk from too many different perspectives, then there's too many opportunities for information to be misinterpreted or to come out wrong. So they've definitely honed in on making sure that there are certain people giving these messages, and clearly Benoit is a big one for them.
So it's less about taking questions.
Yeah,
from
Jared
chat
is a
or from
huge
community,
asset to
more
this
about
project.
Just a very
No
candid
doubt.
conversation about the current state of the game, the development, where we've been, where we are, where we're going, that stuff like that. So I've divided the show up at this point into sort of three things. I'd switch teams for Benoit. Oh, that wasn't in chat. I was just talking to myself. No, that wasn't.
He means he'd go from, the commenter meant they'd go from Star Atlas to Star Citizen for Benoit. That's what they meant.
The chat. Send a DM after the show. That's not appropriate. So we're going to start the show with updates to existing endeavors. So this is the third one of these we've done. We've talked about a couple of things. So I'm going to update on a few of these topics that we've been covering through this before the second section where we get into some new things that we haven't discussed.
Cool.
So let's start with the biggest one, which is server meshing.
Yeah.
We're now a year on. We talked about it ad nauseum leading up to this thing.
Yeah.
It's now been out a year. This is probably the last time we're going to talk about it for a while again until Dynamic comes, and we're not going to put any dates on that. So let's put the story of server meshing, let's put a button on the story of server meshing.
Sure.
And I'll break it down into 4 sections. How's it gone?
We've been living amongst Jesus for 1 year now, he's saying. What is to come?
How's this last year been?
Well, so like if I recap, like almost same date last year
Almost, yeah.
was when we actually launched 4.0, and server meshing actually went to the live environment. And so, yeah, it's kind of the 1 year anniversary of the tech being available for all players. It's been surprisingly solid. I like to say that this way because it's a very large system. But it has been, it has given us just good foundation for what we had to do last year in terms of the content drive that we've pushed forward, the performance improvements that we wanted to deploy. It was like, we were expecting a lot more turbulence with the release of server meshing than we've had in a year. It's been a very, very stable system overall. And so I would say, like, if I look back at the year, obviously there's always problems, with new technologies, but the server meshing itself has been very, very, very solid for us.
Okay. So in the, quite frankly, years leading up to it, talking about it, it began to get this mythology that it was going to be this silver bullet, that it was going to be this one-stop fix that was going to fix so many issues. It didn't fix every issue in the world. It was never going to fix every issue. But I want to talk about what it has enabled for us in this last year.
Yeah.
So what are some of the benefits that we can draw a direct line from server meshing that we've experienced in the last year?
Well, like if you walk back
That's a good damn question.
to the Star Citizen experience before 4.0, so before server meshing got introduced, a server crashing, that was the end of your session, right? You would lose your ship, you would lose your cargo, everything would disappear. You'd have to reconnect, restart the client, start over, right? Anybody who's lived through the first years of development of the project know how intense this was, right? And so the first thing that server meshing brought us is server recovery. And so because of the fact that the replication is separated from the simulation, when a game server crashes, which is where most of the crash risk exists, well, the state of the replication is still good. So we just tell you, hey, we're getting another server, you stay there, and when it comes back, we can recover exactly where you were. You don't lose your ship, you don't lose your cargo, you don't lose your materials. And I think that's been a very, very big, it's a kind of the unsung hero feature of server meshing. It helps with, engagement, playing longer sessions, finishing missions. And so for me, that's like one of the big pluses that was brought in with server meshing. On top of that, and we did have some crash isolation, to be clear, in 3.24 and before, right? But what server meshing really brings also on top of that is crash isolation. So if a server is in charge of the Crusader area and he's the one running into issues, then only that area is affected. And so the player who's, bounty hunting in Pyro or something like that, he's completely safe from this crash. And that just the perceived stability has increased a lot based on that. On top of all the work we've done.
That
to
has
prevent
been really
servers.
nice. I actually think that's a pretty crazy. I don't know how often that happens in other games. This could be a pretty common thing. Not like this is the whole open development thing. We hear about these things because they actually talk about it. But I do think that's a really cool bit of tech where you could be in one place and be experiencing the absolute worst time, but because the optimizations are actually working, somebody else is not experiencing that. That does suck for the person in that place. They have to fix that part, but at least it's not the whole server
From crashing
or shard.
in the first place. But just this whole setup has made the game a lot more stable in that sense. So that's just the kind of meat and potatoes of what meshing has brought us. But the key bit it brought us also is much larger player counts. And so we used to be limited to 100 players per server, which had the whole universe to simulate. Now we've got a series of servers simulating the universe. And so we oscillate between caps of 600, 700, 800. We're still experimenting going higher with this, depending on multiple factors. That cap changes for the moment. But just the fact of having more players in the same shard means you can have an event where 200 people show up at one area. Surprisingly enough, we've also discovered things through this, that sometimes game servers actually perform better with more players in one area than one server simulating the whole universe would, because he has less entities streamed in, and now it's all about updating the components in that area. So we've seen certain events, because players always find a way to, organize something that should be a problem. But there was a 400-player party in one of the bars on New Babbage, and we looked at the server performance through that, and it was actually very, very decent. And so we expected a full meltdown, but it was actually good. And so
Yeah, but how about the chat situation though, Benoit? How about talking to each other?
enables that experience, right? Obviously, there's a million other problems to solve for this to be a really good experience, but
Yeah.
from a server meshing point of view, that was a big win.
You've got a 500 player.
He already knows. He already knows that's what we're saying. We're like, yeah, the server meshing worked, but how much everything else? We'll get to that. Thank God.
No, it's like that becomes a kind of common thing, and we love it because that's exactly what the tech is meant to enable. And then obviously the two other things that meshing has brought us this year is 2 new solar systems.
Yep.
And so for years we had been stuck in Stanton, expanding the Stanton system, more POIs, more planets,
Yep.
more things, and now suddenly we were able to branch into Pyro, which was everybody at CIG was really looking forward to that. It was like, it was internal tension at when are we going to launch this thing? I've been working on this for a long time.
Yep.
And so that was really a relief to be able to get, players to cross the jump gate. So the jump gate technology obviously comes with meshing. And so expanding into 2 systems in 1 year.
Being able to add Pyro in January. The tech preview was December the year before, but it went live in January, and then next goes live in November.
Yes.
Same year. It's this the most common question. We've been doing this for a long time now. Here, forget other places. We've been doing it just here for a long time. And one of the most common, persistent questions is about the pace of development, and people have been waiting very long for certain things, justifiably so.
Yeah.
And we've always maintained that its development kind of works on it builds.
Yeah.
It builds and it builds, and you get more efficient after you build the tools, after you build the foundations. Stuff like this, it gets more efficient. You can do more later on. This year, because of server meshing, we were able to kick out 2-star systems, and we're still expanding on Nix. Every patch this year will expand Nix even more. It's the one in March is looking to expand a bunch of the service stations, and our first big content drop, which I'll go ahead and say right now is supposed to be Rock Cracker. If you watched what was it called, Citizen on Direct. Me and names. You can learn more.
We knew that was coming though, didn't we? I'm really looking forward to that one actually.
More about that, but we're currently working towards that as our March release, and then on.
We got to get more details on
to
it.
build
though.
out Nix
We'll see.
until I think in the Road to 1.0 presentation at CitizenCon 2 years ago. No,
I don't want to go on any more roads. Can we all agree, as a community, as a people, as a group here, can we all agree that we don't want to be on any more roads? The 4.0 road, that contractor was embezzling money, dude. That, like, the road should have ended years ago, and they just kept laying down pavement. Yeah. Environmental conditions. Yeah. We gotta buy this property. Oh yeah, that's right. We need a new mixture of asphalt. No more roads. Let us get on an airship or a blimp. Maybe a dirigible to 1.0. I would prefer I just prefer to avoid roads.
Well, a year and a half ago, Rich Tywer acknowledged that Castro would be our next system whenever that comes online. So it's just this technology.
What does that mean? It's unlocked the capabilities to do what
we can actually start to deliver so many of these things that we've been talking about and working on behind the scenes. Instancing has some role in that.
Absolutely. Yeah, completely. There's one more thing that server meshing brought us that's not negligible, is a very substantial gain of performance on the game servers in general. So, like 324 game servers were running, we had a very low bar for acceptance on FPS for game servers because we just had to deal with so much. Nowadays, like, server FPS is magnitudes higher, so that actually allowed some of the content we've already produced actually.
What are you guys seeing in terms of server frame rates these days? I was in a server a couple days ago, and it had, I think, about 580 people in it. Well, the Shard did. My server had, I think, 130 people, and we were hitting about 15 frames per second on the server. Not ideal. Not as bad as it used to be with, even 50 less people. Not necessarily the greatest, though. What are you guys seeing? You seeing over 20? You're seeing around 15. Better than the last 4 years, but sometimes not great. Right? Definitely a higher average, like he's saying, but could use some help. He just said they've been experimenting with higher player counts, but doesn't seem like he's going to explain what the problem is. We'll see. It depends on when in the patch it is and how many people. You're seeming to get mostly above 10, though. You get good in space. On a good day... Oh, you're talking about client side. 23 average in New Babbage. 15 sounds about right. 15-ish for you. Sitting at 15 right now. Yeah. So it's definitely... It's better with higher numbers. But a big part of it is, like... we used to have just one server handling the entire star system. Now we've got, 4 handling one star system, 12 handling the whole game. So it's improving. It's getting there. We'll see. They do have to keep making those steps forward. I don't think, like, just because we ended the year of playability, they're going to stop optimizing and getting things better. So we'll see where they can get by the end of the year.
Fine, because it was working properly. And so that's because servers have less to simulate. We can optimize their workload. We've also reduced we've talked about this before, but we've reduced the size of the game servers because they just have to simulate one area. And so overall, meshing has improved server performance by big magnitudes.
Yep.
We do need to do a big
my
big
head
meetup
is not
soon.
Smaller. My hair is just bigger. It was very windy and rainy today, and it's just...
We need to get 100+ people together
I
at some
haven't had a
point.
dye job. It's greater than it's ever been. No, we are not taking questions from chat, but I will comment on every one of you commenting on my appearance. So that's static server meshing. We know the next big stage of server meshing is dynamic. What can you tell us, if anything, about that?
Well, so the dynamism in the mesh,
Dynamism?
right? Dynamism, I guess.
Yeah.
So we're running out of words internally to define what the next step of server meshing is. Currently, we're working on quasi-dynamic server meshing, which is we're trying to iterate on the static mesh, right, to bring it so that if an area is empty, right, and nobody's there, we can spin down a server. And if people go to that area, we can spin up a server. To achieve all this, all of the mechanics required for a full dynamic mesh need to be there. So like mass authority transfer between servers, because when a server goes out and it has X amount of entities that it currently has authority over,
to give all those
it needs to
entities
give
to
that
server.
to another one, and that obviously you don't want that process to lock up the parent server. So that whole mechanism is what we're working on at the moment. In fact,
Dude,
we've
server
done
meshing's
over the break.
crazy.
The team has actually reached a milestone.
Tell you what, the long term for my podcast, I want to be interviewing game devs and talking to people who are actually working on games about the stuff that they build. I really hope someday I can talk to Benoit or really any of the guys from the team at CIG. In fact, Benoit has done some work, but there is a whole team that did like the real groundwork on server meshing at CIG. I'd love to get one of them into the show just to like talk about the structure of what they built and how it works, because it's pretty crazy the way that it does make the structure of servers within servers rather than making one server with other ones inside of it, like making containers for servers that can pass stuff between them. Not a completely novel thing in like networking, but pretty cool from my perspective as far as a game works. I've not seen that kind of thing before.
We were able to run with our internal testers a test of quasi-dynamic server meshing internally, so that's good. I mean, it's the first test, so you know, it's a bit rough, but it basically requested, I think, 200 servers to run the mesh. That was a little bit of a but yeah, our ops teams, Ahmed specifically, I got a call from Ahmed immediately. But anyway,
So wait, you've been calling it quasi dynamic, and I've been trying to workshop a new name for you, and I've just got just a little bit of dynamism. But so you did your first test of this quasi dynamic, like, hey server, you try to determine how much you need, and the first thing it did was ask for 200 more servers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
a little bug in the assignment system, but
that sounds like human nature.
correct. So that's what we're working on right now. That's the next step towards the full dynamic mesh, right? Obviously, the goal with the dynamic mesh, just to recap it, is that instead of having a subdivision that we pre-make in advance, like currently, every patch we look at the territory assignment, is what we call it, of like what's coming. Like, oh, we have an event at this place, and you know most players are going to go to this system, and so we adjust the mesh, right? And sometimes we get it wrong, and it's a very manually intensive process, and we don't want to keep doing that. So the goal with the dynamic mesh is to be able to just adapt to where the players are, the cost of the location they're in, to be able to provision compute dynamically up and down. So there's also the unfortunate cost equation in this, right? The current static mesh will always provision a server for every territory that's configured. And so there's a little bit of savings we can go and get there. But more importantly, the dynamic aspect of it is to be able to always make sure that the proper compute is available for players when they're in an area doing something, right? So that's the goal.
You know, I like that all of the talk is from the perspective of what needs to be done and the fact that it's just work that needs to be done. There aren't these hypotheticals or superlatives or just like all of this rhetoric about how great it could be or how like groundbreaking it is, or the fact that the tech is the first of its kind. It is. I mean, I'm not going to say it is or is not. It is very cool and good tech, and the people who are working on it should be able to brag about that, but he's here on camera to share the actual details of like what needs to be done. And I think that's more of the communication that people are looking for, rather than say some of the stuff you might hear at CitizenCon. This is a great talk compared to some of the more marketing focused CitizenCon stuff.
Chat's debating whether the servers have actually achieved AGI and have played the game, and they're just like we've played the game. Give me 200. So that's server meshing.
Yeah.
Wait, Valis, are you on a plane? You on a plane right now, dude? Oh, that's cool. You should unplug your headphones and listen through your loudspeakers. Be that guy. Yeah, tell them we all said hi. I'll play on one of the air horns. Maybe there's a destroy on the plane.
So that's server meshing.
Yeah.
last year, last year was coined as the year of playability.
Where you headed, dude?
So we've just backdoored a whole bunch of playability improvements that server meshing, which dropped last year, enabled. So we've had all of those improvements last year that made the game far more playable than it was in any previous year. But that phrase has been used, it's weaponized, it's thrown back every once in a while. Every time somebody encounters any kind
No screaming babies on the flight. Yeah, that's the secret. Valis is actually still, he's the screaming one. He just hasn't told us that yet.
kind of bug whatsoever. So I want to talk, and that's not entirely unfairly, because everybody's bug that they're encountering is the most important bug in the universe at that given moment, and that one is not resolved because they're encountering it. I want to talk a little bit more about what we did gain last year. So it's whether that's the transit system stuff, the 30Ks finally being killed, the creatures and boss fights and stuff. When you tell me, how did our year of playability go in your head?
Well, so I think that, obviously coming from the server meshing improvements, there was also some failings at the beginning of the year where we saw, transit became a very big problem. That's an example of a
Only
system.
because we tried to use it.
Yeah, well, yeah, or tried to serve you, but badly. But that's an example of a system that was built years ago that wasn't properly scaled over time. And so when you added dynamic gateways for the transit system plus the meshing situation, that became a really problematic system. And so that was, I think, the first order of business once we launched 4.0 was like, we need to really take action on transit. And so we talked about this last year, but we did create the Transit Heroes group, which was a
Transit
coalition
Heroes
of volunteers. Well, they got volunteered. Voluntold, yes, exactly. To come and give a bit of oversight on this too.
No, they came in late to work that day.
Look at the system to see, okay, what do we need to actually, have stable elevators and trains and, make sure that that's always available. Because the traversal of the game, if that doesn't work, then the game doesn't work at all, right? If you
See,
can't
these are the kinds of things that they simply were not doing for years because they didn't care because there was no game, right? Until 4.0, until server meshing, there was just not enough of a reason to dedicate entire teams to chasing down bugs for things that would have to change after server meshing anyways. Sucks that we have to do it all after server meshing, but it's clear that once they hit that milestone, they were much more willing to start investing time into fixing this kind of stuff. Thank God, but it still is. Oh man, it's so awful sometimes. It's so freaking annoying.
An elevator to get out of the habs, then,
You've got 20.
good luck, right? So the Transit Heroes team, I think, has done a fantastic job. They haven't re-engineered the system in that strike team, but they really focused on self-healing strategies, right? If a manager loses a carriage for some reason, for any reason, well, just create another one and get this thing rolling, right? Now, they couldn't fix, in this effort, they couldn't rebuild the system. There was fundamental flaws in how it was engineered for server meshing support. And so, but at least they got it into working condition. So I do think, like, if you look at the game now, transit is no longer the big problem it used to be, right? Like, it actually functions when you need it. Now, that said,
most times
it fixes
Trains and stuff, yes. I don't think I've had any train problems, but freight elevators are still I think one of the biggest failure points in this whole game.
itself, right? So
Feels
it's
like
still getting in a weird state, but it fixes itself. So, we've done more about this, and we'll talk about it later.
and we're building the transport system
Correct.
concurrently.
Yeah, absolutely.
So while this
Yeah,
team is repairing the transit system, we're building a new bespoke transport system.
So last year, I think it was in, I want to say the February monthly report. They actually announced this initiative. Let's see. think it was in core gameplay. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, a strike team was formed to deal with underlying issues affecting the transit system while another continued with the ongoing refactor towards the new transport system. This was, this whole rework was something that they had actually been talking about for quite a while. It was one of those reworks that was kind of working in tandem with server meshing. The mission rework was one of them. The transit rework was another. And you were kind of thinking, oh, these are supposed to finish around server meshing, right? It was around this time where server meshing was going live and they were talking about creating an entirely new team for a new transport system while they had a completely separate team just fixing the current one. That was when it was like, oh, this is gonna take a while. And here we are a year later, and we're still talking about not the team that's making the new version, but the team that's still fixing the old one. I'm guessing we're going to talk about the new version here, but I think we do. But it's just crazy how big an initiative some of these things became after server meshing really showed how much work they would be. We do die less to elevators and trains. That we do. What would you think about farming things for blueprints? Maybe not all of them, but you personally, I think it's fun. Yeah. I mean, the whole economy around blueprints is going to be an exciting. That's an entire game loop on its own. Just being able to go in and find things and then or blueprints that people are interested in and find out the people who want to buy them. Growlo average estimate is 578 per 0.42 per player per year in server costs, assuming you play 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's not bad. Assuming the absolute worst case, it's not terrible. But, you know, as an estimate, we'll see where that goes. Grolo is actually the guest on my podcast this week. So if you are looking for that and you want to hear more of what he has to say, we talked a lot about this show, but also Ashes of Creation and what's going on in that realm of the universe.
So transport is basically the fix for this, like the real fix.
Let's get to transport when we talk about what's fun.
Yeah.
So what else did we get last year?
Well, I got a list here that I worked out a little bit with Jens just to gather up because the game is so big. So
I'm gonna limit you a little bit on this time. You've got.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you 5 minutes.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna give you 5 minutes.
I'm being time boxed
because we do want to get to the new exciting hotness. And
I'll go
first. This is important.
Okay, so we talked about 30K protection.
Hold on, my clock app.
Okay,
here we go.
Go for it.
Go.
You should be a producer. Okay.
Growing blueprints from the ground, like actually farming blueprints. I think that's great as long as it can go all the way from germination to complete, you know, picking and eating the blueprints. Like, I don't want to receive a sapling or something. I'd like to go from the ground up. Let me till the soil. Let me plant the seeds. Let me see the beginnings and the ends of my blueprints. I'm guarding through and through. I'm actually working on planting a lawn in our house right now. I'm gotta post some pictures for that on Discord. You're an Ashes of Creation refugee, but realize that Star Citizen has a lot of similar aspects. Would you recommend getting into the game now or letting it cook more? It depends. I mean, if you were playing Ashes of Creation, then you're not going to be thrown off by Star Citizen's instability and where it is in development. So I would say there's no reason for you to wait if it's the kind of game you like. But I think Star Citizen is the kind of game you stick with if you enjoy the sci-fi genre. If you're joining it because it's an MMO, then I think you should wait. If you're joining it because you want like an experimental space to play in, then you should try it out. If you're joining it because you want a space environment to be in, then you should try it out as well. But Ashes of Creation, the problems that hurt Ashes of Creation won't hurt Star Citizen because Star Citizen is in a completely different realm of expectations. The same thing I was just saying, you know, as a sci-fi MMO, it does not have a lot of competition, and it particularly has found one of the most lucrative funding models ever. So it's not quite vulnerable to the same risks, I would say. So I wouldn't go into it scared that suddenly Chris is going to announce that he sold the company and lost control and quit because they're going to fire everyone. I don't think that's the sort of situation that would take Star Citizen down. I think we would see it before it came because the funding would be drying up, but there's always the possibility that it doesn't work out. So when you do jump in with the aspect that, hey, if you're putting money into this, make sure it's only money you're willing to lose. Okay, $45. That's what I would advise most people, especially because in this very show, they're talking about getting persistence fixed so that you're losing stuff less over time. Take it easy, take it simple at first, see how it is, and go from there. I think you can also like refund that $45 purchase for the first few weeks. Lawns are so frustrating. You used to be in targeted weed abatement for lawns. You hated that business. Dude, yeah, we live next to an open field. We'll see how this lawn goes. I'm just trying to give us a nice soft space to be able to lay down and walk around and stuff. We'll see. Hello, Colmar. How you doing? Or by an interest. Oh boy.
3K protection, transit improvements, right, to make it stable. A stable tech base for the content teams. What doesn't show is that to achieve the content we shipped in 25, we actually froze a lot of the technology to give the content teams a stable base to work off. Before, it was a bit more of a mayhem. So we did that. As we built all of this content last year, so
Sorry, that's one more thing that just got brought up. Squadron 42 is a huge ace up the sleeve in comparison to what most MMO companies are doing. A lot of MMO companies are literally just building an MMO, which is a very risky endeavor, and your success lives and dies by that MMO. CIG has diluted themselves a little bit by also having a single player game, which is a more guaranteed sellable experience that they can also depend on. Not completely, but at least partially. And that's actually a really big, thank you for mentioning that. You didn't see I posted a video? Yeah, I've been sneaky, dude. Stealth posting over here.
monthly patch was a very heavy cadence.
10 patches last year.
Yeah. You know, I think that what's really cool is that we've built kind of a library of locations and events that if you start playing Star Citizen today, there's that to do, right? It's like that. We never had that before. Like a real set of locations that have like a full-on, you know, storyline to follow. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
In these locations, we're able to ship some new creatures. So a lot of new creatures and boss fights. So we had the first couple boss fights this year, you know, with Yormandi, Stormbreaker. So that's like a brand new, you know, design discipline for us to design boss fights for multiplayer elements. So that's new. Spawn and Hangar is something that we've actually been able to enable this time. So we tried to enable that in 20.
One thing about those locations, I love what they've been doing with those locations. One thing I'd like to see them keep doing is keep adding more and more missions that factions give that send us back to these locations. I think that is one of the best parts of any game, is having different reasons to go back to the same locations and finding new parts of that location. It's almost free content, you know? You don't have to make a new location for us. Just make us see it from a different perspective.
Something that we've actually been able to enable this time. So we tried to enable that in end of 24, and that was a bit of a disaster. 25 now, Spawn in a Hangar is there. So if your hangar is available, you spawn directly there. That's actually a very large quality of life improvement. I play the game a lot. It's, you know, not having to go to the hubs is fantastic. We've been able to put weather in key locations, including some of those big hero locations we talked about. We're hoping to do more, but you know, for now it actually is there. 2 new star systems, we talk about this. Jump gates, which is a whole, you know, a game on its own. The way it functions is actually super interesting. As you're going through, the zone is moving and you're moving within the zone. It's really a fun system to go through. So that's in. We fixed the goddamn bounty beacons, which is one of the coolest loop in the game. I love it. And, you know, that was obviously not working. So now we've actually got them to work again, which is
I'm glad beacons are back, but I wish...
a big win. Quantum interdiction was in the same bag, where now with a server mesh, having proper interdiction was kind of difficult, so restoring it was an interesting one. We had to actually build systems to allow that because not every server has a view of the entire shard anymore, and so in order to interdict cross-server, you needed to have a special tech to do that. That fixed also quantum linking. Now, routing is still...
Yeah.
There's still issues, right? It's getting there, but at least there's been some quality of life improvements on that side that we've done this year. Freight elevator, ongoing.
We'll have a whole section on freight elevator.
But there's been a lot of, if throughout the year, freight elevators have received tons of
compared to where they started when we attempted to push them when we pushed them to the forefront for an event, and compared to where we started. But let's.
We talked about server FPS and stability from the meshing and the cleanup that we've put in place. Also, we've pushed at the middle of the year. It came for you guys at the end of the year, but actually we merged it at the middle of the year. But a whole new tech base, including at least a year of graphics update, including Vulkan, coming into the game now. That was what will allow us this year to do some pretty large.
You guys know what the big sleeper there is that came in with that update that they haven't been talking about? But I did mention it in the video that I just released. If you guys watch that after this, tab it up, save it for after. They released a new UI rendering engine with this newest update, Paint. Ali Brown was talking about it late last year. They were using building blocks to make UI, but they were still using Scaleform to render it, and that was slowing them down. But they have released a new update to UI in 4.5. So I think that could be a reason that we've been seeing UI not really make much of a move forward, at least the more advanced UI that we were seeing at CitizenCon a couple of years ago. So that could be why we are now about to get the actual inventory in. It's likely why social apps are probably going to come in. Maybe we start seeing some things like FPS radar and scanning happening a bit faster because they, I don't know, feel more confident with it. I'm not sure. But I do think that is a big, quiet addition that came with that engine update in 4.5 that they haven't really been mentioning. Hopefully we'll see some fun from soon. Actually, we will see it soon. They announced that the inventory is going to go into tech preview on Monday or Tuesday. Hey.
Large changes as well. The first weaponized mech, so the Atlas ICT came in, so that's also a really big boost. We still don't know if it's a vehicle. John Crew and I have this ongoing feud. He says it's not. I say it is.
You're dipping into content here. I'm not going to let you count the. I'm not going to let you count the ICT. That's content.
That's fine.
I'm not going.
Yeah.
Well, although
exists.
The jump jets were a feature.
Yeah,
there you go.
The jump jets were a feature.
Go.
Sneaky
half
feature
credit for the ICT.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will take that. Comms notification got a big facelift. Something that we want to use a lot.
The comms notifications are awful. How many people signed up for a big group for clearing the air and just constant notification? Oh, it's hell.
More of. And so we needed the proper
Turn them
tech to
off.
be able to render that properly.
Please, God.
And not just the quip lines, which, you need more immersion than that. So that was actually a pretty big thing with facial animations and tracking. And so that's in there. And then cross shard progress for events. So, what powered a lot of the content this year was a new service in the background of the game called the scenario service, which, whether you're doing, clean air or the resource drive last year, the cross-shard progress of these events is tracked by the scenario system. And so that's how we were able to show tables about, how many resource drives and resource drives, stuff like that. Exactly.
Yeah. That's a pretty good list. You just got, it says 5:02.
Yes.
Look at that.
On time.
He's talking about the NPCs calling kind of thing.
And you didn't even mention like item recovery.
No, I did not.
Didn't mention item recovery. And there was one other that I had until I got distracted by my own clock.
It's all a blur.
I got distracted by my own clock. Basically, it's hard. Let me think about how I want to say this. If you've been watching this show long enough, you know that I'm not above taking a few taking a section, in this case 5 minutes of the section, to basically go through some talking points that I want, that I think are important, that I think people want to hear. It is. We have had things like the year of playability thrown back at us in comms, and when you see, I tune into a Twitch stream or YouTube stream, and and somebody gets a very frustrating experience. I was looking at an experience of somebody, just going to town with their whole C, and they went through a jump point, and it took them trying to go to one system, it kicked them back out to the next system, and the thing crashed.
God, I hate
and they
that.
got back in, and the spindles. They tried to open the spindles, but the spindles were closed, or looked closed, but they were actually open. So they were in the wrong state. Tried to get refueled, tried to go to refuel. The refuel thing wasn't working, and then stowed the ship and spawned the ship, and it didn't come back on the docking port. It came back in their hangar full of cargo, and it's like this. It's like,
Kill me.
we acknowledge that. I'm sitting here saying we acknowledge those things. But there was so many massive improvements last year. You used an analogy last time we did with this about I think it was the big freight container, the big giant Suez Canal shipping things, that you don't just turn the direction around, you don't just spin the wheel and suddenly you're facing a new direction. It takes time to move these things. And the efforts of your teams and the people under you, these strike teams, these hero teams as you call them, to turn this ship that we call the persistent universe around in the last year, has been phenomenal. If I'm allowed to have a personal opinion, being the shill for the company that I am, has been phenomenal. We haven't gotten everything. Everything. We still got another year. The work continues.
Yeah.
It's just 2 more years, Jared. It's just 2, right?
It's my show, and I wanted to take 5 minutes to acknowledge the tremendous work of those teams, and a whole lot was accomplished last year, in addition to the amazing content work. I said 10 patches, and I realized we actually had 11 because we kicked engineering out.
Yeah.
We kicked engineering out in December, so it was actually 11 patches. 11 patches in 12 months is pretty crazy. So you allow me to have a moment, to have some time to sit there and sing the praises of those people, because I've seen where we were, and I know where we are, and we're in a much better place now. Still,
it's just the beginning of the
still
term.
Places to go.
Yes.
That scenario I just described was like last week, and we got still places to go.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean we don't acknowledge the progress we've made.
I think it's a testament to kind of the systematic approach we've taken to solve some of these issues, instead of previously we used to just assign tickets to people and they would find the fastest way to solve it, and now we're kind of work as a team with the teams in quality assurance that are basically the arbinger, like, no, it's not fixed, I can still repro, right? And these guys have been going through a systematic approach for it. I think that's paid off a bit.
We get better.
Yeah.
Not always, but we try. And in this case, we've definitely gotten better. There were some big changes to internal infrastructure and stuff in the last year or two, and we're seeing the results of that stuff. All right. So now let's go into some specific updates here. So let's talk about the transport system. We don't need to talk about transit so much anymore. The transport system is what will one day replace this thing.
Transport us.
I've heard talk about there being a tech preview of it soon.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about the transport system.
Well, so transit was problematic, wasn't designed for server meshing. And so transport is a complete rebuild of the transit system, but using more server meshing native approaches for how different pieces are going to manage elements that are streamed out and streamed in. Mm-hmm. We're also moving away from some previous misconceptions that were put into the transit system. For example, one of them was responsible for trains going into space. We don't want trains to go into space. So
You might not.
yeah, well,
Maybe-
I mean, unless
maybe
we
just
do
one.
a space elevator. that'd be dope.
Astro train.
Yeah, Astro train would be great. So the state of transport, right? So at the end of last year.
Sorry, I'm going to pause. What's included in transport? So what? What are we talking about?
So
Elevators.
transit and transport manage elevators, in-ship elevators, trains, anything that has to move when you press a button and you call it. So
Okay.
it's a network of carriage, peripheral, and gateway.
Okay.
Right. So you take an elevator. To
Okay,
go to
I
the
actually,
hangar.
so I did
That's
not
transit.
know
Take a tram.
that this included in-ship elevators and stuff. That's interesting.
You take a tram. That's
Anything that's automated, anything that
Correct.
moves you
Exactly.
not under your control.
right. And he's the one moving the carriages, right? So he needs to deal with carriages being streamed out, like prediction for that stuff. So, so transport is a rebuild of the original transit, which has been, as we talked about, problematic. So the state on transport is at this point we are, it's functional. So we've the team at the end of last year actually completed the first transport link, which was we tested this internally with our QA teams extensively at this point. All of the new Babbage HABs links. So we took one link in the universe, that one, and we tested the crap out of it. Right now, that's a static link. So it's going this. When I say static, it means the 2 points that the elevator goes to exist.
Okay.
They always exist. So we know that works. Then the state at the moment is we also support hangars. So these are dynamic gateways, because if you're online and you're at the location, your hangar is spawned there. That's a dynamic gateway. If you leave, that gateway disappears. So the system needs to deal with dynamic gateways. The previous system
Did not.
kinda did, and the kinda bit was the piece that wasn't great.
Okay.
And so we've got internally at the moment new Babbage, we've got hangars and HABs. So the state of transport now is the team is working at converting all of Area 18. So we're talking HABs, hangars, transit trains, all of Area 18 to the transport system. So we're going to go to tech preview with that. That's our plan.
See, Area 18 is our home. I don't know if I feel better or worse knowing that they're about to start experimenting with the transport system there. It's going to be bad at first and then good after that. But also, could you maybe just update the whole planet while you're at it? I really want to see what ArcCorp's going to look like in the new version.
And the reason why we need to go to tech preview is because we need players. We've tested this internally. We can't muster as much players as we want, so we're going to try to see if you guys want to come and help us out test the new Babbage Transit for real on a tech preview to validate all the assumptions that are in the system.
So we're going to launch tech preview and ask people to just come and ride the elevators,
Correct.
come and ride the trams
And their hangars.
and their hangars.
Yeah,
and
dude.
hope nobody dies.
No trains.
Yeah, it's
in
going to be
space.
such a
no,
show.
No doors opening to nothingness.
Oh my God.
That's
That's going to be the craziest tech preview
no
so
passing
far.
through the floors in the carriages.
The single most exciting tech preview we'll ever do. But incredibly important because
Hey,
it's a tech preview that doesn't just affect Area 18. It's one that can literally affect quality of life in every single landing zone on board every single spaceship.
That has an
the
elevator.
ships that have elevators
Correct.
and stuff. Well, then space stations. It's going to be this little thing for Area 18, but it ripples out to everything.
And so after a tech preview, if everything is validated, there's one thing too we want to try to avoid is the train prediction taking you in 32 seconds to come in, where the train says train arrives in 1,060,000, which obviously we hope that's
I just
fixed.
thought it was a metaphor for the project. Am I allowed to say that?
At this point, you are. So after tech preview, we're gonna scale this out to every landing zone, and we're gonna see which patch this will load in. But at that point, we hope to bring transport in and completely deprecate the transit system from the game and nuke it from orbit.
Cool. Yeah. And that's next week.
God, we wish.
We don't give dates. Best effort, but it's looking good. This tech preview is gonna be where we're gonna evaluate really where we're at with scale, because the issues with transit typically come up with scale most of the time. Right?
Fair enough. I told you we get back to freight elevators.
Yeah.
So what can you tell me about
This is the painful half of the show. We're going to get to the good stuff soon.
freight elevators and what still needs to happen?
Sure. So the freight elevators are way more complicated than we can imagine because they get affected by other systems like hangars, like planetary locations. There's also multiple flavors of them, top loading, side loading, and they all operate very differently. So this year, we've had issues at the beginning of the year, clearly, with the freight elevators, like losing items, obstruction, blocking them from functioning.
You said the beginning of the year, but that really came to a head in July.
Yeah. Where we had even an event that would rely on them, which was, in retrospect,
Well, we knew there was a collection of issues, but we also, all of our data said they were only
localized.
Localized on this. It wasn't until we went to scale.
That's right.
That we realized, oh, this is actually even worse than we thought.
Right. It's also coupled to a couple of things, and for that event specifically, which was, we concentrated missions in key locations. That's one thing that has been in our discussions all year, was how we distribute missions, right? How we, if we launch a new mission tomorrow morning and we send everybody to the same spot, that is problematic. Not just because it's not fun, because it's a traffic jam, but also it causes other issues. And so that we learned a lot from that on the design side, I think, overall. But so freight elevators, though, so we're pretty happy with some of the core mechanics, but there's still very egregious issues that we're tracking. So
Thanks, Luke.
there's roughly 73 total issues that we know about. 51 of those have been resolved. So I've asked one of our teams in our Nathaniel Fisher, resident expert in freight elevators, to track that. So the rest of these issues some of them are really problematic. One of them we actually discussed, you and I, just before the show, was how if you're turning in Wicklow items, you need to put them one by one.
Things in a box. You have to be able to put things in a box.
Correct. And so
you have to be able to put things in a box and have.
And then we need
to
to be able to sell that box. God, I lost my mind. What was that, on Wednesday when I couldn't sell? It's so annoying.
that box.
Yes, I agree, 100%. And so that's going to be one of the first ones I think we need to look at. The other one is a bit more problematic because we don't have a proper repro for, but sometimes there are lost items that fail if there's like a back-end slowdown when things get stowed. So we have a couple reports for this, not many, but the ones that we have are critical. And so, this is a kind of a rule we've set on the CGP team. So Jens and I are pushing this to everybody. It's like the golden rule for everything related to freight elevators or anything that touches inventory is a player should never lose an item interacting with these systems. Right?
Yes, please.
We need trust in them 100%. And so that's why we're tracing on those issues. So there's still a lot more work required on freight elevators for different edge cases. A new one that we started seeing in 4.6, which seems affected by another change, but is sometimes like putting stuff on the elevator, not on the grid, will cause it to disappear,
Right.
which is kind of a physics cleanup conflict. So I know we're looking into this right now.
That sounds like a Star Citizen
That's a big
thing.
one. But and then everything that has to do with stacking. So having a stack in your inventory that you want to unstow onto the freight elevator, that mechanism from a backend perspective is actually a creation. I know that sounds weird, but you have a stack of 10, that's one item with a stack of 10. You may bring it's a creation of 9. So that bit is not stable right now. We're trying to improve that that mechanism.
It's hard.
As soon as I hear the word stacking, I'm like,
There's a lot of the chat right now is debating Wicklow at the moment, and
Wait, did I say his name?
if I say it 3 times, he shows up on the screen. But a not insignificant part of the dislike for Wicklow is directly related to that freight elevator. It's just we have a section later on. We asked around. We'll get to it. But we'll give you a preview. But we started talking like what is the single greatest quality of life thing that we can do. And I went around and I asked a couple head honchos here around the company because I was curious. I did an interview before. Like what to you is the single biggest quality of life thing we could do?
what would it be for you guys? I guess persistence would be the biggest one, yeah. Persistence or like, no, I'd say that's bigger, yeah, than social apps or being able to chat just knowing that stuff's actually going to last is the biggest thing this game probably has going against it right now. Because we always talk about the biggest jump in player concurrency was in the beginning of 2020. Some of that was no doubt the pandemic, the shutdown, people getting a bit more into games. But I think a big part of that was also because that was the time where we went from having persistence one patch to the next to being able to get something in a patch and have that last into the next patch. Before that, you'd get reset every 3 months. And I think that change actually added a lot to people playing more. So I think they'd get another step up if they figured their persistence problems out now. Yeah, a lot of y'all are saying the same kind of stuff, actually. Quantum, org tools, or quantum, social tools, persistence, economy. Yeah. Inventory. It's really like the same 5-6 categories everybody's sort of would say is the biggest problems with this game.
The single base. And on more than one occasion, shout out to Jens. I'm going to spoil it here. Not losing items.
Yeah.
Just not losing items. Just that seemingly simple,
Yes.
benign,
Yeah.
innocent little thing. Like if everything else is important, everything else is super important, everything else is super necessary. It absolutely is. But God is my witness. If we can just make it so people don't lose their items, like so
I agree.
Shout out to the heroes of the freight elevator hero squad. I thought it was Strike Squad, but you've rebranded it during this call as Hero Squad, and I like it.
Right.
So we'll do it. And everybody,
Transit
the people in item
heroes.
recovery, the people in the new inventory, people who are working on the new inventory system right now. It's everybody working to fix that, because that's just the single most demoralizing thing in the world to me.
What is the orange crate?
Speaking of item recovery,
Yeah.
we launched.
They were doing that before the show, right? What was in the orange crate they were doing in the middle of them?
B0 or B1 or whatever the heck we called it, T0. I'm hearing that
The
there's
first thing to pop up after I asked that was functional toilets, so I'm going to assume that's what's in the orange crate.
a T1 on the horizon.
Correct.
Talk to me about it.
Well, so the obviously Tier 0 was a fairly large change to the game, so that in the case where you die in the verse, instead of having to run a corpse run to recover your items, you would actually respawn with them. This was
Playability.
mainly done to, we're in an alpha game, we needed to do some compromises, so we looked at that.
Yeah.
So item imprint.
Literally, that was the clearest sign that they were on a playability pusha. Playability pusha. They didn't have to do that. They could have laid out the roadmap for us on how this feature was going to work and then went away and worked on it, like they did with base building. But instead, they're doing a slow rollout, I think, because they want people to be more open to playing the game right now.
There's multiple names for this at this point. Item imprint, item recovery, Tier 1, entitlements 2.0. Those are all sort of related. So the gist of it is, and this ties into some other subjects, but is that currently when you play the game, right, and you look at your ASOP terminal, I think I've said that last time, but I'll still go through it again. When you look at your ASOP terminal, the list that you see there is the list of entitlements that you own, which ship that you own, you have a right to, right? Then that's cross-linked with the actual ship. Do you have it? This entitlement, let's say it's a Connie, what is it in the game, right? And where is it? And that's how the ASOP terminal shows you the list, right? So that's why you're able to have a row when there's no ship and it says retrieve or deliver, right? That creates the ship. Then deliver brings you the ship on the platform. Those entitlements currently, they don't live across patches. We recreate them. The first time you log in, there's a big process that reconciles your account, grabs your web purchases, grabs your LTP records, and recreates those entitlements. Obviously, long-term persistence has always been it's a difficult problem to solve. It sounds simple, but it is not, I assure you. But in order to facilitate all this and also other item recovery needs, we've decided to basically persist those entitlements across patch. So these things will never get wiped anymore. And so losing a ship is not going to be a thing. That's not going to be technically possible. We never really delete entitlements, and so you have insurance on those records, so you can claim insurance. The only way to lose a ship will be if you no longer have insurance on it. You still have the deed for it, but you can't claim it. So item recovery is a rework of the entitlement system. It touches on how you claim insurance on ships. It allows snapshotting of ships, but also FPS items, so that these live with an insurance loadout that we can keep and recover, and then will give us the ability to recover or claim your even FPS items. So think of it as an insurance system for FPS items. Right? So this whole mechanic ties into LTP as well. We're also hoping through the system to solve some of the issues that exist with, taking components off of a ship, then claiming the ship, losing the components, and or in some cases being able to duplicate some default components. This whole loop is insurance has always been a problem design-wise for how this functions. So item imprint v1 allows you to imprint items, save that state, and then recover it on death or when you claim insurance.
So that's the next version of item recovery, but I don't think he says here, or doesn't really imply here, when they're thinking that's going to be around. Obviously it's not going to be a thing until after crafting, I think. I don't think it could come before that anyways, but it doesn't sound like something that's coming with crafting necessarily.
All right, so I have a couple questions here based on what I heard. You keep mentioning insurance. Are you saying that insurance will be in alongside V1 or just, yeah, exactly.
Correct. I say insurance because that's the same kind of loop in terms of what the services are doing to do this, but basically it's a snapshot we recover from.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
So when item recovery V1 comes out, it'll still be much like it is today as far as insurance. Everybody will just have everybody has LTI on everything at the moment right now until that very specific gameplay system is implemented. So this is not that.
No.
So I can't tell necessarily here if he's saying that when they do implement this, everyone is going to just not have to register or pay for registration for the items right now, or if he's just trying to let people know that the clock is not starting on their insurance. Because when they bring this in, I do think they should let it be a money sink. I think they should have people pay to register their different goods. Otherwise, how are we going to test whether it's not working or working? Right? I'm guessing it's the latter. He's just making sure people know that insurance itself isn't actually starting in terms of the timers right now, right? Yeah, I'll rewind it so you can hear it again.
Basically, it's a snapshot we recover from.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
So when item recovery V1 comes out, it'll still be much like it is today as far as insurance. Everybody will just have everybody has LTI on everything at the moment right now until that very specific gameplay system is implemented. So this is not that.
No.
You're using lowercase I insurance.
Lowercase I, yes.
Sorry, I just needed
underscore I.
I didn't think ship insurance was coming in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just to clarify that before folks go off.
I do still hope it's still a money sink when they bring it in for this first iteration. We need more money sinks in the game. Like, just for the sake of encouraging us to play a little more carefully. It's weird that we just keep making money and there's nowhere for it to go.
You're saying that because it's a change to the entitlement system and everything will just get snapshot and moved over. When you say people will no longer lose ships, you're talking about that whenever a patch comes out, people come in and they're talking about the ships that they've earned in game, the ships they've either bought with AUEC or stolen or whatnot. Those should persist.
If you have an entitlement for something, we no longer wipe that between patches at all. We keep it completely.
Okay.
So that should give us a lot more. In fact, it is exactly the way you would expect it to function right now, except the way the systems were built in the past didn't account for that. And so there was cases where you could lose something that you own because it was left unstowed in a shard or something like that. And so now with the entitlement system, we keep that cross patch. So
the first question I have in response to that is, how will people get rid of things? Because quite frankly, I might go joyriding, one day, or I might buy a thing for AUEC and fly it, and then decide I don't want it, I don't like it, and now it's just sitting there staring at me in the ASOP. If these things don't go away between patches now, every time I want to try a ship, or I just move away for a ship, or John Crew nerfs the hell out of the ship and I don't want to fly it anymore.
Goddamn John Crew.
I might want to get rid of it.
John Crew hates me.
Is there going to be a mechanism for getting rid of these things?
Well,
He nerfed
not
my
with
ship.
item imprint, right? As part of this, no. But there are, I don't want to go too much into details into this, but I can give an example of, like, you have a ship filled with cargo that you stow into your location inventory in New Babbage, and you claim that ship, right? In the current way the system works, that cargo's lost, right? That ship will get deleted and you're done, right? You get a new one, but it's the same entitlement, right? With the new system, we have the ability to also show you ships that you own that had an entitlement on it. And so what that means is you could claim that ship, you'll get a new, let's say it's a Caterpillar filled with cargo, and you're like, I need to claim it for some reason. You can claim the ship. The other ship will be bricked, right? That's how the design is functioning. So it's no longer usable, but you can still retrieve it. You can still retrieve the bricked ship and get it. And then if you destroy the ship or tow it out, then it'll go away from your entitlement. But there's going to be more system, of course, to remove that from your ASOP terminal longer term. But
So he's literally saying that during this time, like when we start getting into stealing ships, even if somebody bricks it, that won't remove it from your ownership, which is good because you can still salvage it, you can fence it, sell it, you can use it as, I don't know, your freaking drug cache spot. You want to hide some coke in the freaking dashboard of your Cutlass Black that you stole off some guy. Can't be traced back to you, right? I don't know, do we still do coke in Star Citizen? Kind of out of favor by that point, huh? Citizen Her, welcome in. Good to see you. How you doing? Do you have a stream today? Can we get a shout out? And a chance for the good folks of the Twitch chat to go give a fellow Star Citizen streamer a follow. You like to be able to clear out your ASOP a bit? Dude, oh my god. I am so grateful for all of the referral rewards throughout the years. I just wish maybe I could consolidate them or something a little bit. It's just like I don't want to scroll through 3 different dragonflies or something. It'd be nice to filter out stuff or sell stuff. What does this mean about ship selling? You're gonna have to clear out the ship registration before you can sell it. Bricking means basically that it won't work, and that's a stand-in. That's just a interim feature until they get all of the full registration system working. You don't know if keeping stolen ships permanently is a good idea? It's not easy. They haven't really given all of the details on how it would work, but you do have to make it to a very specific character in the game in order to validate that ship as being okay for you to use. I mean, if you steal a ship, it wouldn't be cool if the game just took it away from you, right? It should be stolen and marked as stolen, but you should still get to keep the stuff you've stolen. First time catching you live, hope you're doing fantastic. Mythical Legendary, welcome into the chat, dude. I'm doing great, hope you're having a good Friday. And Jive Funk, good to see you, brother. Hope you're having a good week too.
But there's going to be more system, of course, to remove that from your ASOP terminal longer term, but not in this phase, but longer term, yes.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about the long-term players, the people who have been here for a while, who have acquired a rather massive fleet already. And
I'm a victim of this.
You know, and you start buying ships, and I'm guilty of it. There's just sometimes I don't want this anymore. I don't want to look at a I don't know, a Rock DS anymore. Just want it out of my ASOP. I bought it mistakenly from Astro Armada. I just had it
That's Jared's low-hanging
momentary
fruit,
moments
the
of weakness.
Rock
I don't
DS.
want that Rock DS staring at me in my ASOP for the end of time, because you've done a wonderful thing with item recovery, V1.
But now you keep it,
and
but now
they're
you're stuck with
persistent.
it.
Yeah, some things
Are you saying
aren't
you
meant
don't want
to be,
your ships anymore?
I'm just saying some things aren't meant to be persisted. So I just want to take this opportunity to just
that's a
encourage
good conversation.
There should be some way to remove, to get
I'm
rid
very
of it.
curious about why you singled out the Rock DS out of this.
It's
How much time
awful.
you got? Jared hates the Rock DS confirmed. Oh, you haven't been watching for a while if you're just getting that confirmed now.
It's doctrine, dude. Does anybody in chat like the DS? I won't bully you, I promise. Chat might, and I won't stop them, but I won't. Like, does anyone actually... They could probably make uses for the Rock DS by using environmental dangers and stuff like that, but it really just... It doesn't really come off as a very useful vehicle in the grand scheme of everything else that exists. It's kind of like the mule.
Jared, you're not supposed to be going on shows and telling people you hate certain ships. You're supposed to be championing everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
Yeah, the DS is easy.
I hate the Rock DS.
It's easy to hate on.
It's comfy. Though. It's
It's
got the-
genuinely
Let's just do
the
everything
easiest
the
thing in
first
all of
process
Star
that
Citizen to hate
required
on.
two people. Look, I've never lied to you. I never will.
Sure.
It would be more useful if it had a tractor beam on it instead of a mining laser.
It's the only promise I've ever made people. You've been mentioning long-term persistence, so let's just wrap up this the
arc.
storyline of losing stuff, keeping stuff. The last time we had this conversation, you talked about utilizing this entitlement system. Is that what we were just talking about, or is there more stuff?
There's more. So there's a lot of work ongoing on this, on the long-term persistent side. So just for those who don't know what long-term persistent is, or LTP, there's a mechanism we put in place to allow you to keep things between patches, right? So
I've got a good dealer for LTP if you guys want to hook up.
every patch we basically destroy, like when you come into 4 to 7, when it comes out, that's a brand new database, right? The whole thing is fresh, and then we recreate things. Now, why do we recreate things? It's because these things are still changing. So the Hornet you had in 4.5 is probably different than the Hornet you have in 4.6. Item port locations have changed, materials have changed, serialized variables and all the data that goes with it has changed.
The gold standard Aurora that we just launched is
Great
technically an entirely different ship. The whole entity is different.
Exactly.
And under the hood, to the backer, it looks like, okay, you just added some fins and blah blah blah. But under the hood, it's an entirely new set of entities.
And so, in order to allow us to keep stuff, we've built this system on the side that kind of keeps records of what you own. So it says you own a Hornet, right? That system has always been kind of a, I don't want to say a crutch, because it did function for a long time, but we've outgrown it quite a bit. There are also many cases where we would remove records of things that you own because they're in play in a shard. That's been proven to be a bit of a bad decision overall, and so that's why we've had multiple issues over the years of like players losing ship entitlements in the new patch, or having more items than they were supposed to get. Like, some people have shown some screenshots of demultiplication of things between patches, and so it's been a big issue, right? So with the item imprint work, we're tying into that. We're reducing the footprint of what LTP manages by a lot, because it will no longer store your entitlements. We just keep those as is. So that's one big bit removed from that system. The other complexity on that side is that it needs to manage nested inventories. And
Back to the freight elevator.
That's just completely crazy. So like, I have a handgun stored in the glove box of my Merlin that's attached to my Connie, that's parked somehow inside of my, Idris, and stowed in my location inventory. Well, I need to give you a record for that gun, right? And so that system needs to reread data and store it, and it's really complicated.
Which is why people have gotten into the habit before a wipe, or before not a wipe, but before a patch.
Yeah.
Freudian slip, huh?
He said wipe. Avocado. Jared said wipe. It's happening. It's happening. Confirmed. This is it. This is literally how it goes. A single dev says the word wipe, and then people months later will be saying, yeah, they said they wanted to wipe. Like, I saw people talking about this video yesterday on Reddit, and people were like, yeah, they said they intended they wanted to wipe, but I guess not. Like, no, they never said that. Like, nobody can actually pull that quote out. It's so funny. Yeah, I saw your comment.
I know you people. But before a patch, people stow things in certain inventories to have their best chances.
Yeah, to kind of set it up, right? So on long-term persistence, ultimately, we don't want this system, right? Ultimately, we want to get to a point where we don't need it. So step one is to reduce its footprint. So that's part of item imprint is that. So that's a big deal. But the next steps are start from the very low level. And will require some large company change. We need to be able to migrate your old Hornet into the new one, right? Or at least be able to know it changed enough, I need to give you a new one, right? Or being able to just migrate the shape of the hierarchy, the item port locations, and the serialized variable formats on these things. Now, the thing you got to think about the way the ships are built, right? The entities have components on them which enable them to do something. I'll give an example just for the layman. You have a health component on an entity that says, hey, I got 100 hit points. When that reaches 0, then we destroy the entity, or something else happened, it destroys itself, right? That component is written in code. There's a game programmer that's maintaining this. We actually have a health component. It does way more things than this, but just to keep it simple. So a game programmer is programming this, and he needs to persist the value of health so that when this ship is now either put in an inventory, then brought back into the game, that the values of the health components on the parts, on the individual parts, have persisted and we reload it, right? This is true for everything in the game, right? We have serialized variables and components across the game. There's, I think your character at the moment has like 800 serialized variables on it or something like that, right? So those are all different components. Are you crouched? Are you standing? Are you?
I remember when somebody told me that at a party back in school. They walked up and were like, dang, man, you got like 800 serialized variables on you. I was like, yeah, dude, I've been working out.
The limbs, stuff like that, right? So the programmers between patches, they just changed that. I removed this one, and I put a new one in, and then because some of those variables, it doesn't matter if it changes.
Yeah.
Some of them matter, right? If you change that, like it's a different shape, it loads a different CGA model, whatever, right? So that's the big problem about how we need to forward migrate is we need to do this at the very low level. So currently, our network team and our online teams are working at this mechanism to be able to differentiate the important from the important SVs, the serialized variables, on components. So that's all across all components in the game. There's over 1,500, 2,000 components, individual code components in the game. So, for example, I don't need to know if you're crouched when I stow you in your inventory, right? I don't need to know that, right? But I need to know that when we're running and you're crouched, right? So we differentiate the two, and then we have a mechanism to migrate the data format from one to the other. When we get that functionality in and reliable, what that means is that we will just keep the database. And that is huge, because now that means there's no longer a process between patches that transfers stuff or moves it around or recomputes things. It's the same database. We're just moving its version forward on demand. Now we've looked at multiple different options for that. Some of them were like, just migrate people from one to the other, but then we'd have to keep 5 databases behind. It's just impossible. And so right now we're working at that option, and that's the longer term vision that we have for that. So first, reduce the footprint of the LTP system so it just manages some things, not all, and then work on the real fundamental issue, which is we need forward migration on all this data.
How many times in your life has a errant random, unexpected.
It's so fitting that Benoit is in this position. The whole point of Turbulent as a company when they founded it was that it would basically just handle tech problems that companies that were in gaming or in movies, in arts, would need help on, more tech-focused stuff. So it makes sense that Star Citizen got so involved with them, and it makes sense that Benoit eventually went from that to being the CTO for what is essentially a tech company making a video game, at least for the last several years.
Serialized variable been the cause of distress in your life?
I mean, it's crazy. This is the single most important thing, because like, in case you guys don't know, every time we do either, well, full patch is easy because we patch server, client, hybrid, everything goes in at once. But when we perform hotfixes, and God knows we've done a lot of hotfixing this year, right? That's part of our process now. But there's like specific steps where we have our live QA team need to do compatibility checks, and any change to any serialized variable, added, removed, change the format, change the data, whatever, incompatible client. And so getting our processes in place to catch those before they get introduced, right, is really taxing, because there's always oh yeah, also fix this bug, and that make the whole hotfix incompatible and we can't launch it. So we have to backtrack, change our approach, whatever. And so that's the kind of thing we're dealing with. This will also solve that if we can make it.
And before somebody says you should have just made a simpler game, Benoit. Have you considered just making a simpler game?
Yeah, cool.
All right, I want to move into our quality of life section here.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit before, because we just talked a whole lot about not losing things and all the efforts being made of not losing things. But there are other major quality of life things. For me, personally, after the not losing the things, it's social.
Yeah.
It's social. The ability to group with people, the ability to communicate with people, the ability not to communicate with people, the ability to just be like,
shout out to my man Hustle.
Hey, that's a bad person.
He's talking to you.
That's a bad person with bad thoughts and bad intentions, and boop, boop, and kick them into the pit from 300.
Sure.
And whatnot. Never to see or hear from that person again.
Right.
All the tools for joining up. Finally, people have been creating and managing orgs on our website since 2013.
Yeah, 13.
And this is 2026, and those orgs still not in game.
Correct.
Orgs are literally just glorified gaming groups on Discord still. It's actually crazy that we're like struggling so hard to figure out our own systems and like ways of doing things when they launched this platform for doing all these things 13 years ago, and there's just not enough support for it to actually do them. I do wonder what they're going to do with Spectrum once they launch orgs and how much of it we'll actually be able to use. Because we've all gotten very comfortable with the alternatives at this point.
What are we doing?
We're reenacting a little play, because Benoit and I have had this conversation almost verbatim for a little time. I'm just doing the conversation we had in private for you guys right now.
Why you? Weren't you saying that you don't get the idea of why people block other people or something? Wasn't that, I thought that was your thing. If not, then never mind. Direct that on somewhere else.
So my question, Benoit, friend, person whom chat has dubbed brother, my brother.
From another mother.
When, Benoit, when, please, dear God in heaven above or down below, who do I have to talk to?
Sure.
Give me something.
Good.
Social.
Yeah. Well, so what is it now? It's all a blur. A social universe, right? The last panel that we did at CitizenCon. That outlines the vision of what we want to do with social. Now, with the year that we just had, we had to take a little bit of a detour on that initial plan. But
as they do.
Right now, we have completely formed the social strike team. And so, a bit like the heroes team, right? The social strike team its only mission is to execute this plan, right? And so
So don't bury the lead. There is now an official dedicated team on this.
social strike team, yes.
Okay.
Exactly. And
Social heroes.
so this group is currently looking at all of the components that make up the social systems now, right? Fortunately for us, the work didn't stop on this side, even though we couldn't
Oh, thank God.
enact the changes in the game. On the back end side of things, there's been a lot of progress.
Oh, that's what we needed to hear, was that work did not stop on the social apps, because holy crap, we can't wait. We cannot wait.
Social. And so even though the systems look primitive in game, their capabilities have grown quite a bit, even in 25. We
Just
do
not using them yet.
So we do have a block list that we
Okay, so right here we finished the first hour, and I think this is around the point at which we change over from talking about a kind of review of what's been going on up until this point and leading up until where we are. And the next hour is more talking about the kind of stuff that's coming up. So they've been basically just spending all of this time talking about 2025. Here's what we did. Here's the effect that it's had. This is really how all of Benoit's shows have been since he's been on. He comes on, he talks about kind of what he talked about last time, what's changed since then, and then he flips on over to what's coming up. So I'm going to end this recording for anybody who's watching this on YouTube, and we're going to flip on over to a talk that's a little more about the future, about what's coming in 4.7 and what's going on with those features. So thanks for watching if you did. We'll see you in the next one. And Dirty Gravy, thank you for our first YouTube spotlight of the day, my dude. Appreciate you, and the kids are so happy about it. Said, let us dismantle bricked ships or guns into components, invest research time, and reverse engineer parts into craftable blueprints. What you think? Yeah, well, I don't know about crafting blueprints. I'm not sure how that would exactly work, but I do, yeah, dismantling bricked ships and into components and stuff. I can actually show you where they've said that's going to be the case. Excuse me. So here's where they laid out the whole idea of item recovery and where it would go over time. This post was from, I think, May of last year, March of last year. So Tier 1 introduces the ability to register your gear and ships at kiosks. And like I said, you'll no longer respawn with your preserved gear already equipped. You'll need to visit a location such as your freight elevator, reclaim your registered items. We are developing a single button click to auto-equip all your stuff at this location. So this does have bricked items. Once an item is looted, it remains usable until the original owner reclaims it or marks it as stolen. At that point, a dead man's switch is activated, meaning it will cease to function. But those items can still be sold. Now, the next version, which is Tier 2, we keep going, is where they actually include the version that you're talking about. They say looted or bricked items. Once it's looted, you will have the option to sell it, dismantle it for crafting items, or to restore it and make it your own. This system creates a viable path for piracy, allowing you to claim another person's belongings if you take the necessary steps to legitimize ownership. So they're getting there. That's the goal. But it's certainly a little slow. They basically confirmed inventory and maybe crafting for 4.7 and confirmed social tools in 2026. Well, we haven't even gotten to that part yet. That's the next hour. Honestly, the first hour of this is really not much actually talking about anything of the future from what I can see. That's why I wanted to stop it here. The only real future focused thing they talked about was the transport system, I think. But enough of that for me. Let's continue. If you're just hopping in here, I'm probably going to post this one first. This is our part 2 of the big Benoit info drop. We have these like twice a year, so I like to split them up because they get really long. Oh yeah, I know what you were responding to. This one is more focused on the stuff that's coming. So crafting, inventory, what is going on with 4.7, what's the next big update, and what's happening for the rest of the year. If you want to see what happened before, which I know is less important to a lot of people, and get an idea of what they've been doing to lead up to these big systems, that one will be posted as well. Either way, thanks for joining. Let's get into this. We're talking about, I think, the social tools right now.
A bit, even in 25. We
Just
do
not using them yet.
So we do have a block list that we leverage now. It's simplistic, but because we didn't have the UI resources to do it completely. But moving into this strike team, right, covers all areas of social. So the plan is to go into 4 different pillars for it. So the first order of business is the Comlink app. So the Comlink app is like one of the oldest mobi-glass application we still have. It's kind of an eyesore because it's like from a dark, ghost of futures past. It's like from 2000, I want to say 1918 at this point, style-wise.
So old.
Very old technology. Still use the legacy, even UI framework that we had in the game. So we're completely eliminating that tab. We're bringing forward the social application that we've shown at CitizenCon, so that design is moving forward. So replacing that, chat widget, right? So the entire chat experience in the game, we're completely overhauling this from the top at the moment. So we're right in the process of changing that.
They actually, the stuff that they said about this is pretty nice too. It's one of the bigger things that we've been looking for, which was like region-based chat. And actual tabs. Oops, that's the wrong one. Tabs for the location you're at, so you don't have to see what the stupid freaking guy in Nix who's complaining about his ship exploding while you're just trying to like talk to your friends about where you're going next.
We do need an expert to discuss VOIP as item links.
Where did they talk about it?
Giving you the power to make the chat your own. We're also adding chat tabs.
We're bringing back tabs.
We're bringing them back from other games. And this means that you can set up customizable views, filtered for any area of the game that you are interested in. And Ben.
I do wonder how these filters are going to work.
Hooking it up to the new systems. Revamping things like, social notifications. Currently in our mobi-glass, we only have one kind of level of notification, which is like ultra important. So
just everything.
To have a proper social experience, you need to have these like, system updates, system notifications, like someone joins, someone leaves, whatever. Looking at things like combat log and all the stuff that we've looked at in the social universe panel. So we're actively building this now. And that's going to be the first, we don't know, I'm not going to say which patch is going to land in. So our schedule is twofold. There's a content patch schedule and there's a feature schedule. The features need to have leeway because it depends on where they're going to land. But that's going to be the first update to social will be Comlink app, right? So rich party.
The fact that they don't, he can't tell us when it is, but he can tell us about other things is, I think, enough reason to think maybe this won't actually happen in 4.7, but it does seem like that's like they're talking about it in the loading screens, my bones are telling me it's got to be a 4.7 thing. Come on, you guys can do it.
Information, friend foe tracking, chat app. So we're working on this right now, actively.
For a 2026 release?
Yes. I mean, it's like you mentioned, it's kind of urgent at this point that we do something there.
Urgent. 4.7 is urgency. Benoit, do it. Give it to us, please. Hey, what is this ship in the background here, guys? What is this from? I don't recognize this.
This will automatically roll into the next... Oh, keep your dad here. Come on.
Jared has spent so many years asking them about this on the show. Vindication.
The next milestone for the social strike team is going to be looking at the party finder mechanic, right? Which basically allows you to advertise your party and then get people to join in. Like, let's say you're looking for a gunner and some FPS guys for your mission, then you can advertise that. If you're looking for friends to go do a specific event, you can do that as well. And so Party Finder, we're hoping, is going to be a way for you to find friends on a given shard really rapidly. Also tie that in with your friendship and your contacts. So that will be kind of, we're building on the first release, which will have now friend and foe tracking into that. And so that's going to be super interesting.
So that's part 2, which we also do have some idea of how that works here. We got a Party Finder here looking for
Ties your
group.
party. Give it an informative name like Ben has done here.
Space combat fun times.
And you could even set things like a specific contract that you want to play, or roles that you're looking to fill. Maybe you need gunners, engineers, pilots.
Meat shields.
Maybe that.
To be honest, I don't know how this is going to work out without any sort of reputation. So that the fact that we didn't hear any talk about that once again.
You could also limit the number of members. You might want to do some, again, specific content. So you want to do with a set number of members in the party, or you might want a tight-knit group. That's something that I would like very much. Maybe you just don't want to split the contract rewards, right? So once you have that information, then it's time to list your party.
And then people are going to be applying to the game on the same shard. Then I can share my party with the Party Finder, and other people will want to join up. Now we're talking. But I'm curious.
So that's going to be the phase 2 of these social updates they're working on this year.
It's the second system we want to bring in. And then obviously the final, not the final, number 3 of 4.
Catch you later, Diz.
Is the
Have a good
org
one.
system. And so not the system we want to bring in. And then obviously the final, not the final, number 3 of 4, right, is the org system. And so in that space, we're taking the orgs on the website from 2013 and we're moving them completely. Obviously, the technology we used to build that in 2013 are obsolete. They're, it's a really old system. So we're bringing all of this data back into a game service to manage orgs, to surface that, obviously, game side. So now have org management screens, have your organization chat in the game, and then actually be able to create your organization from the game as well as surface it outside. So that's like, okay, now orgs are in the game. That's the first.
That's the whole name, and then the org. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And this will probably. I mean, we're still having internal discussions about how that surfaces. In our game, nothing is always set in stones, but probably going to tie into FPS, scanning radar. Additions to when you fly your ship to identify others with scanning. And so the orgs will be part of that. That's it. Visibility in game, chat in game for your orgs, actually having your organization communications.
Yeah, that's a whole nother series of conversations,
So that one is actually the one that I didn't think they would be able to get in this year. I was not thinking org stuff was the kind of thing that we were talking about this year, but you can see kind of the direction they want to go in with that here.
I can join multiple orgs, like the Buccaneers, the Corvette Club, or the Slam Truckers. But how will others see me in the verse if I have multiple choices? Surely I need to pick a banner.
So that's covered by something new called representing. And it's actually quite similar to the existing affiliation main status system on the website. So if you're in multiple orgs, you choose which one you want to represent.
This gets appended to the name while you're representing, so you can easily see who is in which org at a glance. So, finally, on guild alignment, you are not locked in forever. You can switch at any time. However, that will put your alignment back at 0, so it's a big choice.
So,
yeah, it sounds like they're doing just basic org stuff. That's very possible. I don't think the guild alignment stuff is the sort of stuff we'd be seeing, but it does sound like he wants to have maybe not a calendar. I don't know. Like, what of this is he actually saying they'll be in? Just this, basically? Just the idea that you have the org page accessible, maybe? Not actually all of the org tools themselves.
Having your organization communications.
Yeah, that's a whole nother series of conversations.
Yeah, it'll be released in pieces, of course.
Immersion versus running around and seeing it burns when I PvP.
Yeah.
Above people's heads. It's like,
sure.
So
let me solo her.
Fun fact, I got to write the original guidance at Blizzard for that back in 2004 for World of Warcraft. Yeah, I got to make the original list of, these are examples of really bad guild names.
Nice.
To train game masters way back when.
Cool.
Chat, you've been saying it. It's next on the list.
Yeah.
VoIP.
Yeah.
VoIP, if you're doing all this stuff, VoIP.
We're looking at VoIP.
Such an important element.
Sure.
Yes, please.
It's all part of it.
Graham tells me it's entirely your fault.
Graham is, I don't want to say it.
Graham did not say that. He heavily implied it, though.
No.
Graham is more savvy than I am. He knew not to say it outright.
Yeah, that's right. We love him, but he's wrong. No, but okay. So VoIP, we're doing improvements there on the backend side of things. So VoIP is mainly, right now heavily affected by the shard size. So the original design for this was really made for the 100 servers, and so we haven't had a chance to go back there at all. As part of this work, this team is also going to look at the infrastructure for voice transmission.
I'm guessing you meant 100 player
and we're
servers?
going to try to, make it scale to the proper thing. So one element that we're talking about on chat and comms is that we're probably going to be moving away from the server chat. So what the original, global 600 player chat, and move into regional chats like a true MMO, so that, it's tied to the region that you are. Maybe multiple channels for that, and so VoIP will also be affected by that because it also powers proximity chat, and so proximity voice. Sorry. So
does he mean? Yeah, never mind.
So we're looking at voice transmission from the top to bottom. We're changing the.
I wonder what regions will be though. Is like a landing zone a region or a planet? A whole planetary system? How small will it get? It'd be nice if we could just make a room and then filter it based on the locations of people from that room. Like if you spend all your game time around a specific planet, or maybe you spend all of your game time hauling between two specific destinations, maybe you just want to see people who are chatting at those destinations. That'd be fun. That'd be nice.
The whole backend for this to make it scale there.
What do you have against Baron's chat?
Baron's chat was dope.
Baron's chat was... I mean, apparently Baron's chat was so dope, we implemented it here and have had it for the last 10 years.
That's right. Correct.
So,
correct.
Sorry.
We're also out of this.
I'll be right back. Don't get carried away with the chair.
Movement on player reporting for bad behavior. So not just blocking, which is, is something that we have now, but that we want to expand on, but also like player reporting on for other players that are, either bad behavior, profanity in chat, things like that. Obviously, we don't at CIG don't have a large, moderation team in game, so we're going to need some automated help there that will come and clean up some of these elements. So we're trying to, really tackle communications, from the top there with that strike team.
So social, there's not ever losing an item. Shout out to gameplay engineering director Jens. That was his major one, and then
that was his coin.
That was his one. Didn't feel strongly enough to come on the show though.
No.
Jens.
Yeah. Next time we do a duo. Let's sign him up right now.
So not losing things.
Yeah.
Social tools. We'll throw VoIP in with social tools.
So chat, party finder, orgs is what we're going in order.
As far as major quality of life, I want to ask you personally. I'm allowed to say things personally sometimes. I do it often on my live shows, and then get in trouble for it afterwards. Benoit, I want your personal thing. What is your big bugaboo? What is your big quality of life bugaboo? The thing.
So personal.
Yeah.
I've got 2. I've added 1.
Scope creep.
Yeah. Okay, so I would say for me, in terms of quality of life, I love to play the game in a kind of a larger.
The chair thinks little of you.
Setup. So I have a kind of a flight seat that I like to operate to play the game, and this thing has roughly 13 devices connected to the game. Managing bindings is literally the worst. And so that's my pet peeve. If
I'm about to step into that world, and I can already see rage in my future.
there was one thing that I could do.
You guys want to help me install the mounts and stuff for like these VKBs? I was thinking about doing it on stream. Probably the live tech support would help. I have no idea how to get started on this. I don't even know if it's really going to work out. Because like I was saying, this desk, this is an L-shaped desk. So it kind of sticks out right here. And it's going to be hard to have my mounted stick right here if it bends like this. So I am actually looking into getting a new desk hopefully soon, because I think already before we even get this installation going, I think this is going to be an issue. So gaming desk companies, hit me up. I'll show your desk if you want me to test it out. No, really though, it's about the VKB, so I'm excited. Yeah, I'm gonna put them on the chair, and I'm gonna do a whole review. I want to do like a month-long, just hardcore boot camp, where I just try and get really good at fighting. I'll bring on a couple of combat pilots onto the stream. I'll have a couple guest pilots join me, like Jonathan Winters. Fortunately, A1 actually just stopped doing Star Citizen, so I'll find a couple folks. Maybe Virgil will come in. We'll do some battling. I'll get better over the course of a month, and then I want to kind of review how did I do with this VKB setup, and being guided by obviously the most skilled and talented chat in all of Star Citizen. Yeah, and I'll be using the Monster Tech chair. This is one of the ones they made with CIG. You still feel like playing Star Citizen with the Steam frame will be interesting? I feel like that too. I feel like it's going to be amazing. This game's going to be awesome in VR. Also, this song is awesome. I love this song so much. I just found this new song like last week. I put it in the new video, and it freaking slapped. If you do get to check out that video, let me know what you think of the new song in it. I quite like it. You got VKBs on your swivel chair mounts. It's been amazing. You can swing them back around out of the way when you're not using them. I do like that. As long as they can get out of the way, that is good. I'm worried about when I'm like playing the game right now, right? I'm sitting here, I'm using my mouse and keyboard, but then I want to use my sticks, you know? I can't, I don't want, I'm gonna have to lean back, scoot back a little bit, because I feel like this bend right here, you guys can't really see it on the camera. Hold on. See this bend right here? This is right where it would be. So I want to get a different table. For someone who gets paid to play, you commend your restraint of not blowing all the money on the peripherals. Dude, I don't get paid to play. I get paid to talk. If I stopped talking and only played the game, this would be a much different stream. That's why I focus on the mic, right? And the camera. No, I don't have money for peripherals, to be honest. We're still like getting the wheels rolling, you know? You do VR with mouse and keyboard and it's complicated. Yeah, VR with mouse and keyboard, I already suck at mouse and keyboard because I have to look at the keys. I like a gamepad, I like a controller. That's why I'm so terrible at playing games on the computer. It's been like 6 years and I still just like ham fist the keys and press the wrong things. If I need a hand with bindings hit you up, I will, Vastin. Oh, I will. Monster Tech sells those swivel mounts for that chair. Yeah, I actually don't know if... I don't know if I got these mounts here. I'm not sure if these are the swivel mounts. It says mounting plate, so I don't know. We shall see. Tech preview got pushed back a week? Did they just announce that? No way. Sag. I was looking forward for that. I don't see anything about it. You need to mount your VKBs to something, just having them on the desk, it's not the most comfortable. They take up a lot of space too, huh? Which planets and moons are best for photos? Microtech? Bloom? Pyro 4? Daymar? I would say like those 4 you could get probably the best looks in the game from those 4. Is Pyro 1 pretty good? I don't look at Pyro 1 very much. Yeah, Bloom is beautiful. Bloom's great. Monox is also pretty cool, but Bloom is, I would say Bloom is nicest. Once Pyro 4 gets its rings back, that's probably going to be the nicest place in the whole game to take pictures, whenever that happens. Anyway, sorry, very distracted. Back to the thing. If anybody does, for whatever reason, want to help us get towards the desk that I am considering for... never mind. We'll talk about that later. Let's get back to this.
For my own game experience, like other than like the in-game elements, it would be completely control bindings. You know, currently we rely on device order for some things, and so like literally.
Yeah, Pyro 4 is supposed to have rings. Did you not get to see them when it first came out? Oh my gosh. Wait, hold on. You didn't know that? Let me pull that up for you. It's really nice. Easily the best looking. Look at this. Look at what they took from us. It was the only place in the whole game where you could find planetary rings and clouds at the same time. And I don't think... I only have a few... I think I only actually got a couple of shots where both of those were in the view. I think I look up here because they looked amazing from the ground. Look up, dang it. Yeah, you can see them. You see them? Dude, it looked so good. No. What happened to this? Why did they take this away from us? I think it was, yeah, dude, look at that. Oh my God. But you can actually see why they took it away. Probably because of stuff like that right there. The rendering in it, I think it sounded like it was difficult. They were having trouble with doing the rings along with water. So, I don't know. Maybe they got that figured out with the new engine updates, but we'll see. I hope it comes back because it's really nice. And I need to move my camera back. Okay, now, like I said, back to the video.
You need to have like a kind of almost a common order for the devices on your machine. Sharing these profiles is very difficult. Being able to bind onto multiple devices, to really benefit from that. Being able to bind on multiple, like the same action on multiple devices, for me is super key, right? So that would be my absolute personal thing. Quality of life to solve would be device handling in general.
And you're announcing you've created a hero strike team for this.
No, I wish I could just do that, but it'd be cool,
So that's not something coming soon.
Well, there is work being done on the control systems, right? But not that I could say it's coming soon to Star Citizen. Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of work there.
And while you're at, it'd be nice if it stored them and saved them.
Exactly.
Having a system for actually configuring that made sense and whatever, that's all great and whatever. But if I got to redo it every patch,
yeah, I know.
So
saving them, cloud save across machines would be great, right? Yeah, exactly.
Talk 30 to me, Benoit.
I mean, it's the kind of thing where like I do maintain a couple of rigs at CIG, and people are always changing bindings, but the problem is I can't reapply my bindings because it's not the system anyway.
So there are sim pits in the office. There's sim pits in just about every office at this point, aren't there?
Yes.
Yeah. And Benoit, as a as if he didn't have enough to do. It's his little pet project. He's intricately involved in them. It's every time I come by and he's at a sim pit, I'm like, you have more important things to do. He's like, and it's always like, somebody change my bindings. Sorry, Pete. I needed the emphasis on it. It's just the number of times I've walked past this man who it's just like, so yes.
I mean, it's because Yogi and I always are fighting against what the best binding is. You know, mine is clearly better, but you know.
Yogi's a
so we'll
DCS
that
vet.
At some point, we'll just fix the
He probably dreams about key bindings.
binding system so that we don't have to argue. Just load the one you want.
And you had a second one.
So my second one for inside the game is that I've always found in general like. You know, like mission chains is a thing that I feel our gameplay is always one-dimensional, right? Like you do a thing, you finish it. Missions, so I know because I know of things, right? I know we're working on an updated mission system.
You're talking about the limitations of the existing mission system. You're not talking about the quality of the work of the people that are working on these things.
Yeah.
You're talking about the tools that they have to work with.
The system around it doesn't allow us to do these massive quest chains, right? And I think that for me would be a huge quality of life because you could go onto a long adventure that takes you across multiple things. And so
Elliot Maltby was about to be on the corner of the building.
I know, he's calling me right now.
You know, you're talking about the tools that our mission
to enable these
available.
Guys. Exactly. So I know we are working on an updated way to make missions that is a lot more scalable for that, right? And for me, that's like a big quality of life because I feel you can go on a longer adventure, and I think that's a big quality of life overall.
Okay. I think that's. I know that's one that a lot of people would comment on. I mean, what they're doing within the tool set that they've had for so long.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about a little bit of why that. Well, maybe not why,
sure.
But we can acknowledge. We can acknowledge that the tool set that was originally developed was not robust enough. It was not in line with the directions of a proper MMO.
Right.
It's no. I'm trying to decide how candid I want to be here and whatnot. It's a mission system. It's a mission system that can't give you a reward for doing something. Like we built the first version of the mission system where you do a thing, you achieve a goal, and we can't hand you a thing.
Right.
And that it's.
You literally have to go to your freight elevator.
Simple example as a coloring of the limitations of the existing mission system. For however that was built and why that was built and who that was built and everything, we've made changes internally to fix it. We've made changes internally to adjust it, to replace it. It's currently underway. What they've managed to do with the limitations has been stellar. I was just seeing stats about the event that's on right now. Mm-hmm. The event that's on right now, built with the existing system, built with the limitations, has our highest concurrency in the last 2 years outside of an Invictus or an IAE. So it's like they're doing tremendous work. Yes. They're doing tremendous work with the tools that they have.
Yes.
We've got to unlock those tools.
That's exactly right.
We've got to unlock the tools for them.
That's for me. That's the quality of life update.
Because if they can do this with that.
Yeah.
Imagine what they could do if they could actually chain these things together and Dude, segment them off.
Oh gosh, chained missions is like narrative space-based missions. Listen, that's why I am always excited for these space RPGs. As much as I enjoy missions that are like flying spaceships around, the idea of taking a mission that is like these really good fantasy-based missions you'll find in a good game like Red Dead Redemption or Witcher 3 or Expedition or like all of the great RPGs you think of, but being able to experience those same types of narratives and experiences and features, but including, I don't know, zero-G movement, including the rush of like, is there oxygen or not? Is the room vacuumed? Is there enough heat? Can you find food? Like all of the complications of space with those things does not happen very much in gaming. And you don't really get into that until you start getting these more chained up narrative-based missions. We used to have a really nice one. Remember the one with Tisha Pacheco? That one was pretty cool because the game would also give somebody else a counter mission to come and stop you from doing what she had told you to do. That was a crazy mission. I like that one. So I cannot wait to have more of these, but from this to contract reward sharing to reputation sharing, all that kind of stuff, I think is all locked behind their mission system V2, which has been on the monthly reports a couple times over the last year, but has, much like the transport refactor, it was on the page. I kid you not, guys. I'm not making this up. Look at this. Roadmap, roundup, transit refactor. You probably could find, yeah, this is, I'm pretty sure, the big roadmap roundup where they announced 4.0 going up. Both the mission and the transit system refactors were added for 4.0. Also, so was engineering all the way down here, which didn't end up happening until later. And solar bursts, wherever those are. But these two, no, these two, so important, and we're still waiting for them. But that's what he's talking about here. And I think that's where we start seeing more of this stuff. You lost a toenail while moving that desk, dude? That is freaking rough. Ouch, bro. Angelic? We had a a couple tables over there. I'm on the L-shaped IKEA movable table right now. The problem I have with this is I can't move it because we're trying to do our cord management, but that means that the PCs that are on the ground get the cords ripped out when I lift the desk up. One of the things I like about this Magnus desk is you can get a mount for your computer so you can actually carry it along with the computer, which I need. But I want to film while I'm standing. So it's going to be really nice because now with the vertical format being more popular, I'd like to stand up and move around in the video. And I actually think I could probably have more fun just moving around in general when I'm on the stream here. I hate sitting down. I'm sick of it. So yeah, I really, that Magnus desk, I'm very interested in, but Jesus, I will have to sell my car. When you set it up, you were laid out for a couple days afterward. It's that heavy. Oof. You messed up your back so that your back can feel better using a good desk. That's how it works, right? Check out some of the new ones. Oh, I will.
Could actually chain these things together and segment them off and have one continue after another and stuff like this. So
exactly. And tie into reputation, economy, so that it actually is one big loop. Right?
All right.
Cool.
Now that I've saved your life from LA Mall, I'll be killing you. Let's talk about some features currently in development.
Sure.
Crafting.
Yeah.
Tech preview just happened recently. How's that going?
Good, actually. I mean, I don't want to say surprisingly good because the team did amazing work on it, but it's been going super well. I mean, there's a lot of work left, right? But I think that we got what we needed from the tech preview, and it wasn't a complete meltdown, which is always a good thing. But the team is working really hard to try to hit potentially a patch soon with crafting, which I really believe that crafting is such a big step for Star Citizen as a whole. It's just it will be a different game with the crafting system in place, and so the work that those teams are doing right now to bring this to life is incredible. I think that we're leveraging the technology that we have to be able to create runtime items with different properties and things like that. And so far the first tech preview has been surprisingly solid and a success, I would say. And so now we're riding the coattails of that tech preview to try to see for a launch window for crafting.
And you can't have crafting without the inventory rework.
Correct. That's right.
And I rarely ask a question I don't know the answer to already. The inventory rework is in the same tech preview, right?
I don't think it was.
Because if you can't, so you can't have crafting without the inventory rework, but the tech preview for crafting doesn't have.
Technically,
Definitely thought.
it can be.
It would just be
Definitely
really
thought that the inventory was going to come with that. Because I was of the expectation we were going to see the inventory with the crafting preview in December, but that didn't end up happening. And then we didn't get it with this drop of the crafting feature. But yeah, there's no way they're going to launch crafting without the new inventory. It's going to be a mess.
Exactly. It's more from a game design point of view. But the inventory work is going really well. I mean, some of the people have been reposting screens recently on the original concept, right? That was shown. I mean, it's starting to look like that, so that's really good.
When does that go into tech preview?
We're hoping very soon, because like at this point, every version that I've seen is fully functional, and so we
Right
just
now.
really want to solve one thing. This is one, and you say quality of life, like if I have a third one to add to my list, right? The speed of rendering of icons.
Give me now. Please give me the inventory today. Tech preview today. Now. I didn't know I would be this desperate for an inventory. Probably 18 months ago, I didn't really care that much. But oh boy, how much has changed since then. Yeah, inventory is up there. Social apps, inventory, persistence. Those three things. Oh my God. Please,
in the
Benoit.
inventory, right? And so, like right now, you open your inventory, and there's always a moment where it's rendering RTT, like the render to texture icons for each of those. Now, in case you don't know, this is a full 3D scene that gets rendered flat right there. Like we have versions of this in previous concepts where it's full 3D. It's super nice, but
Takes forever to load.
the user experience is not great, right? And no matter the amount of work we're going to put on the UI and the functionality of inventory, the speed of the UI is really a thing that we need to improve. And so that's the part that we're still iterating on now. We've done massive improvements, but there's still, we need to.
I'm glad they're
we
doing
need to
that.
dial-
It would suck to get the new inventory and then it still takes as long to load. It would just feel just as janky if it was just as bad at loading. I'm glad that's a focus for them.
that in perfectly, because that's the part we really want to solve.
But you feel good about it.
I feel good about it. Yeah, absolutely.
You feel good enough to say 4.7 in March?
I think so.
Oh!
Don't put the camera. When he says that, you gotta put the camera in him. No, you look at
So
the
much
camera.
for no
You
dates.
say inventory.
I think inventory is going to be in 4.7. I think so.
Okay.
See, that you can run with, right? That's more for sure than we heard Highlander say about the game getting a wipe. You can take this and run with it. That's a whole different kind of statement. And we're going to run with it. Benoit said it.
You're going to put the small text after this, right?
No.
This is live. This is live, baby. No small text. And so, if inventory rework is 4.7, I'm not going to push you on crafting. It's a super complicated thing or whatever. But
And the teams are working really hard for that launch window if they can make it.
for that launch window,
We're pushing.
They're
really
working
that
hard
launch
for it.
window.
We'll see.
you're pushing really hard to get crafting in 4.7
Yes.
in March.
Yes.
Okay.
No promises.
No, pushing hard is fair. Pushing hard is fair, and it's in line with what I've seen.
Yeah.
I've seen. So I won't correct you on that or whatever.
Now we don't know
you're
what
being-
surprises are ahead. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So keep tech previewing.
Keep tech previewing. Exactly.
Yep. And for your part, keep logging into the tech previews and keep testing. I cannot stress this enough. The more
Yeah, I think this is why they've got more people in Evocati.
things,
They just
the
want to
more
get,
likely we
like, they're
are
going to use the
be
tech
able to
preview more often, and so they really want more people on it now.
Yeah.
most of the feedback's okay. Some of it's trash, to be completely honest. Small amount of it. It's just what?
Squadron will be on console.
Hey,
It is.
You
what
can
it
bank
is.
on that.
Canada goes both ways. How's instancing going?
Very good, actually. We actually had a summit this week about instancing, about getting all of the levels set up to support it. At this point, so maybe I can do a quick recap on what we've discussed in instancing before. So we talked about server meshing, right? So instancing is basically an additional system on top of server meshing, which allows us to take an area of space and give it to a server in the mesh to manage, right? Doesn't matter which one. The geographical, if I want, the spatial position of this thing doesn't matter, right? So for example, when you go to your hangar right now, that is an instance, right? So what we're doing is we're taking this system that manages and we're making a true instance manager with it. So we currently have the backend service completed for this. And so what that provides is the mechanism for creating an instance that that is associated with you or your party, and having, you know, rules for how many, this instance is made for how many players, enforcing player caps and party caps for that instance, managing the life cycle of the instance. So, hey, we want, you know,
Bro, imagine getting locked out of,
imagine
getting locked out of like showing up in a bar on Levski because the person walking right in front of you was the last one allowed inside of the instance player cap. I hope that kind of stuff doesn't happen.
That's dated now, but like your molten core instance lives for 10 days, right? So the instance manager is in charge of doing that. So that system's in place now. And so the teams are currently working at how the entrance to the instance is going to work, right? So, well, we know how it's going to work, but like how it ties into level. So level designers put in, you know, an entranceway.
Right.
At what point are you crossing the boundary? What brings you to the instance? What brings you out? Transport is a requirement for instancing, so just ties into all the discussion we just had. Like transit cannot bring you to an instance, but transport can.
Okay.
So basically we want to power that up there. So you can imagine an area of space that you walk into through a SAS or an elevator or a transit train. And when you come out, you're in the instance, but you don't even see...
You never see the loading screen.
Demarcations, exactly. Now you're inside the instance, you play inside the instance, you can gather items, inventories, whatever, boss fights, etc. And then you can exit through another transit link, and that's it, you're back in the world.
So if we do this right, you should never be aware that you're doing it. We might have to put some kind of indicator on there because of like raid locks or whatever. We talked about municipal works,
Correct.
you know, and like this. So there might have to be some UI stuff to tell you to.
Yeah, some screens will show you like, oh, you can't enter this because
But from
cap, or
There's going to be so much nuance that defines whether or not this is a successful implementation that it's hard to even talk about it right now till we see it.
An experience. We're not. It's. There's no load screen. There's no. Hold on, please wait. You're transferring you to,
Right.
you know, whatever. Like you see, it's just you're going to go and suddenly, the world around you is going to melt away, and you will be in a section of the universe that is dedicated entirely to you and your party.
Exactly, to play it, right? And then, you know, we're also talking about at the moment how the instance manager responds to the mission system, because we might want to be able to change what level you're going into when you pass the threshold or things like that. And so, or the access rights, right? So if you think back, man, I keep going back to WoW, this sucks, but whatever. In the good old WoW days, you know, you need to do lower Blackrock Spire. And at some point, someone has a key. That's the requirement that unlocks upper Blackrock Spire. Well, we're thinking about mechanics in that vein that allow the mission system to lock or unlock or the access rights to an instance. And so all of this is currently being managed, but it's going really well. Most of the networking capabilities that we needed have been added already. So one of them is that currently when you go to your instance, the way the server actually tracks that is we put a flag on your character that enables you to stream in your hangar and actually view your hangar when you go there, and we remove that flag when you leave it or when you go elsewhere when the hangar is removed. And so in the code up to now, we only had the ability for a single one of those on your character, so we could only give you access to one instance, but we need to be able to give you access to multiple instances, because we might have areas of transit that cross like one instance to another instance, things like that. We're going a bit deep with this, but at the moment, those mechanics
If Exhibit
are
made
ready.
instances.
So the networking bit is done. So now we're really about crafting the first experience that we want to do with instancing.
And the first instance content will be Siege of Orison. We announced that.
Redux.
Cease Origin Redux. Ooh, c'est en France.
Yeah.
Right. That's scheduled to come online. We talked about it during CitizenCon Direct. That's one of the content drops that are scheduled for this year.
Yeah.
Basically, everything we've been talking more about a schedule than I probably intended at the beginning of this thing. But everything you saw
talk about stuff.
Sorry, everything that you saw at CitizenCon Direct last year is scheduled for 2026. So, and we announced at the beginning of the year with the first ISC that we've now moved to a bi-monthly. That's once every 2 months. For those who like homonyms, I'm not above recycling a joke. Content thing. So if you know the first one was in January. We've already stated the second one's in March. The third one will be in May. There's always a patch in May for very important reasons. So forth and so forth. So
it's an ironclad patch. We'll
it's one
call
of those
it.
things where when you look at the content for CitizenCon Direct, you can start to reverse engineer where things go. I'm not going to tell you.
So Rock Cracker always looked like it was going to be the first big thing we got. The second big thing we get, I think, is going to be the Municipal Works. That makes the most sense. Third big thing likely is going to be the Planet. Fourth big thing, tactical strike groups. I don't remember if there was anything else in there, but this is what CitizenCon should be. It should be what the next year is about, and some updates on the major direction and design of things overall. And I like that. I hope they can follow through with it.
I'm saying you've got the tools. You've got the tools. You can pretty much kind of gather where everything is going to be. And I'd like to see your schedules. And that's just content. That's just the content stuff, because that's really what we talked about at Citizen.
I can tell you, from being with the team this week, working on instancing, everybody's like super stoked. Like it's like the energy is really high on like, oh man, how you enter it, how you exit it, what gameplay is going to be in it. There's also a big piece of this, which is like some designers, in this case, can design an experience that is repeatable. Most of the content we've produced this year was, there's a PvE experience for it, but it's fundamentally in a PvP zone. So that is giving them those tools to make something that's fun and repeatable as an experience. And the energy is really good.
Nope. Now, chat's like, Squadron 42, whatever. I ain't talking about Squadron 42. I made one very plain-spoken, reasonable comment about Squadron 42 the last time we got together, and it got press articles. So I ain't saying nothing. I'm talking about Star Citizen.
Oh my God. For those who don't know, let's hold on. Squadron 42 delay. Let's see what comes up the next time. If you if you search Squadron 42 delay, the first thing that comes up is literally his quote. Where's he said something along the lines of, it's expected to be coming out. They stated the reason for the delay is, wait, what is this? What is this? What is this? No, this is the wrong year. 2024. Never mind, it's not the first thing that comes up. Here it is. It's the second thing that comes up. But they bring up basically, Jared sitting down with Benoit saying that he is not sure if the studio will meet the 2026 target. And this got so much press. People were going, Star Citizen is delayed. It's never releasing. Like, people were referencing the wrong game after this. It was so funny. Honestly, Jared, you should probably do it just because it causes a lot of funny freaking stories. But yeah, that was quite the situation. That's what he's referring to when he says this.
About Squadron 42 the last time we got together, and it got press articles. So I ain't saying nothing. I'm talking about Star Citizen. Star Citizen. Star Citizen.
Where we at?
I want to inject something.
Oh, yes. Yeah. You're right. Siege of Orison is before Municipal Works. Absolutely. Yeah, it's probably Siege of Orison and then Nyx and then Municipal Works. And then the other big thing.
I want to inject something.
Okay, let's go.
Something we haven't talked about. It came from the chat. It came from the chat. Regional servers.
Yeah.
Regional servers. We have never had a conversation
about
in any way, shape, or form about regional servers. It was there in the chat and whatnot. I think I'm going to put you on the spot.
What are they asking?
It just says regional servers when. Just what can we do to help the people who play in the various regions of the world have a better experience? Is that the answer? Is regional? I guess what I'm asking is regional servers the answer, or is there or are we going towards something else different that I've literally never asked you about?
Well, I don't know in this case if they're asking for what I think they are, but let's talk about regions.
Okay.
So we already have regions, right? So when you play the game, you can pick one of the global availability regions that we service. So obviously the US, North America is one. The Europe is one. We have East Asia, Australia. I forget the other ones, but I think we have another one. So typically we look at user data, right? And if an area reaches critical mass, right, at some point, then it's worth it to deploy shards there. So, and have shards hosted in that region. So we do it like between US and EU. Obviously they share a common backend. So your inventory system is hosted in one central area, but then the actual game servers you're playing on for latency reasons is going to be closer to your area right now. You know, we are revisiting our region kind of distribution for a couple of reasons. Like we've done some pretty large, without naming any details here, but we're in the process of doing some pretty large migrations, you know, in how we host the game. So there's, even if it's a bit transparent, there is a lot of changes happening there. And so we are revisiting our region map kind of at the moment. But typically the way that we've done this is we look at player data, and if we reach critical mass in an area, then it's worth it to start deploying some shards there.
I do want to know
more than one. Right.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. How many shards per region is the big question for me.
Right, because deploying one shard in one area is problematic because, you know, there are cases where a shard goes into trouble for some reason, and before a hotfix actually deploy, that shard is no longer usable. So we need to have, you know, it needs a critical mass to be able to go there. Yeah, exactly, a proper cluster size to be able to get there.
And
thank
the short version
very much
is your currently undergoing conversations about where.
Yeah, we're looking at that.
Dude. What? Mihai just dropped 10 subs in the chat, guys. Can I get an amen in the chat? Today's Toes Gang is like such a freaking baller group of people. Jess Game, Colt, PKP, and Mihai. Whole bunch of Toes Gang legends. Thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Done some changes, so we have access to more regions than we used to. So we're looking at that. But I can't promise any changes. Again, it's completely based on player using the service.
So during the keybind use conversation, you know, every once in a while I'll check Teams just to see if I still have a job during the shows. Which is another joke I get accused of making quite often and repeatedly, but it isn't a joke. I really do scroll and check. Jeffrey Prees, I had an R there. Bearded
CIG?
Didn't mean to add a.
What did Bearded CIG say?
He sent me.
Taryn, thank you for the pizza biddies, dude. Appreciate it.
Exporting custom keybinds. XML doesn't export all settings.
Permithrax, you as well. Thank you. Much love.
He's just sending me Jira's now. I don't know what you think I'm going to do with this, but thank you. Thanks for watching.
Thanks, Bearded.
Thanks, Bearded. I haven't talked to Jeff in a while.
That's actually a guy we should talk about if we were going to reevaluate.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. You want to talk about Jeff? Let's talk about Jeff.
Valis.
We know he's watching.
Yeah,
dude.
right.
So what do you think he's hiding behind that?
Valis, he's still conscious on that plane, man? Sky subs, how far are you from landing? This guy is flying over. You said you're flying to Florida, going on a cruise? Congrats, dude. Cruises are fun. Thanks for sharing the love, though. The freaking... sharing the vicarious cruise fun from over here. I hope it's a good time, man. Yeah, let's go, buddy. Appreciate you guys.
Weird. I don't know. We're in the final stretch. We're in the final stretch. We only have a handful of topics.
He does have a big beard. That's not a joke. He's not called Bearded for anything.
VR kind of came out of. I mean, it's one of those things we've been talking about it. We talk about it here and there.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real. We've talked about a lot of things over the years. I mean, We've talked about a lot of things.
I mean, we used to have VR in 2014. I say, but air quotes. Air quotes.
That's like saying I'm a baseball player because I played a couple of Little League games. Let's look out for
A
that.
long time ago.
A long time ago.
I think it was Oculus Dev Kit 1.
Yes.
This is what was supported at the time.
Yes.
Anyway.
And I used it for 45 minutes and ended up in the fetal position for the next 3 hours. VR is not for me. I want to preface this by saying VR is not for me. But it's
Colt, did the chair give you a thanks for the biddies? Because you know, since you gave the chair biddies, he must have said something.
for a lot of people.
Yeah.
For a lot of people. And at the end of last year, surprise, a not a fully blown or fully
Thank you.
cooked,
Thank
fully
you very
developed
much.
feature, like we would normally refer to them. Some how do we refer to it? An experimental
Experimental.
feature of VR. Where did this come from?
Bruh. Twitch. What are you guys doing, huh? You making the kids cheer. Stranger joining in the party. Thank you, dude. Welcome to the Toes Gang, brother. I appreciate you supporting the stream. I hope you're enjoying it and having a lovely time.
Fully blown or fully cooked, fully developed feature, like we would normally refer to them. Some how do we refer to it? An experimental feature of VR.
Yeah.
Where did this come from? What's going on? And do it without saying the word Santa, Sylvan.
No, sure. Yeah. Well,
Sylvan!
there are a lot of developers at CIG that really like immersive
My man,
experience and
Sylvan!
work, right? And so there's a contingent of developers, also one specific one that have been really trying to get the Star Engine to properly support VR. And so, as an experiment and to build that,
Thank you
these
very
guys,
much.
and I'm gonna, Sylvan in specific has been really
He said the
working hard
name.
to try to get
He said it.
Star Engine to
Oh,
work in VR.
shoot.
Experimented with
Striker. Whoa. Yeah, Twitch is popping off, dude. Striker's up in the party. He upped the ante, too. Like, for those reasons, I'm in. Much love to you, Striker. Thank you. Striker V? I'm going to give you 21. 22. There's a couple extras on top. It's like when you're doing the ice cream sundae and you put a whole bunch of stuff on top of it and then just like one cherry. Like, yeah, just a little cherry on. I guess that's the literal cherry on top is the whole phrase for that. Thank you, Striker. You're a real one. Appreciate you. You guys are awesome.
multiple different approaches, over the last couple of months, settled on the OpenXR approach, and was actually able, through his own, passion and then support from his other colleagues, right, to, get stuff fixed so that we could support, VR in specific cases. And so, that's how we decided at some point, hey, you know what, like this is actually pretty cool. Let's release it, right? Like we have a unique chance at CIG to be able to work on a custom engine and working on custom technology. And so, encouraging that effort, we decided to release an experimental mode to see, hey, let's see if people like it. And I mean, the response has been pretty impressive overall. I think that the results that we're able to get in VR are a testament to some of the decisions over the years that were taken and how the game has been made. And so
Yeah.
there's a lot of little things that just shine when you now put the VR headset on that, maybe if you're playing just on the PC, you're not going to appreciate as much. But, and, I'm going to go Chris Roberts here, but Chris, always insisted on, taking the difficult approaches to build certain features, right? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things that you're
really
like,
interested.
oh, we could have done simpler on this one. But we did the hard road and we actually delivered it. And so now when you put the VR headset on, well, you've got reverse IK in the seat, right? And it's the kind of
Yeah,
thing
dude,
that
thank
now
you very
all these
much.
decisions have paid off in this VR.
It's a pain in the
That
ass
has
in
been
2017.
Yeah.
What? Dude, Twitch is popping the absolute off
very
today. You guys are, holy crap. Alex Blah Blah. Alex Blah Blah came in, dropping a sub. And, hold on, I think I missed something before that. Did I miss something before that? No, I didn't. Just all the love going on in that freaking Twitch chat. The big perp today. Texas Horny Toad, thank you for dropping a sub over to Yuri Keller. Yuri! Welcome to the sub club. Alex K. Alex K. Blah blah. I appreciate that name, you know? Sometimes you're just gonna name the name what the name's gonna be for the name. Thank you guys. What's up, Illuminati? Hey, don't bully YouTube, okay? YouTube is doing YouTube things. Straker said, I watch all your content. Even though I don't make many live streams, I want to support. Well, thank you so much for the support, dude. It means a lot. This, even if you don't watch the YouTube, it makes all of it possible for us to keep doing that. Twitch has legitimately been making an actual difference in our ability to do that over the last few months. Thank you for that. And thank you to anybody who signs up for Patreon. That is actually the best way to support us, and it's better than... Jesus. Ah! You supporting all of this. You having a problem there with your... She got a gun jam. She's buying the cheap guns and not greasing her... Don't... You hit the mic! God.
Yeah!
Thank you for supporting us.
When poor Evo was on it, and now so many years later, it's that part was plug and play because of it.
Yeah, and I mean, even internally, the arrival of VR, even before the experimental mode, the ship was, tremendous. Like I spent, a couple of hours here around our VR rigs next to my sim rigs with the ship team going like, oh, I want to see my ship in VR. Let's go. And then because designing for VR is a bit different, like sense of space changes and whatever. So that's really truly an experimental mode that we've been pushing. Obviously, there's a lot more people around.
Can say, guys, I have been working on a video for you about VR for a little while now, and while I have put in, kid you not, more effort than you would think onto this video, it is at a point where I still am not sure if it is truly representative of what you will get from the experience. So I am doing everything I can to validate that and to work together with various companies to try and get the right footage, but I'm working on getting you guys come on.
They love to see you shot.
I am working on getting a I guess they've got as much enthusiasm about the subs as me getting shot. I understand. I get it. But yeah, ow! Jesus Christ.
Ooh, that was a good one.
You can't all do it at the same time or else she's only gonna shoot once. You're just missing out on your... Dude, there's so many freaking darts here now. Get here. She only has finite bullets per stream, y'all.
Them out and get this there, but I think that this is a testament to kind of the technical framework that we have at CIG that allows that kind of effort to not go unnoticed and kind of show up in the game.
Chat's currently arguing about whether VR is a low priority or high priority and stuff like this.
I mean, the priority at this point doesn't matter because it's an experimental mode.
Yep.
It's a bit like eye tracking. It's a bit like all of these side projects, right? Like head tracking, eye tracking.
It's not an initiative on the same scale as the inventory.
Thank you very much.
Crafting. Exactly. It's not a full initiative. It has not taken a priority over something else.
Exactly.
Hey, dude, PK. This man dropped another 5 subs. And Meta Hatter putting some bits towards more darts. Dude, there's plenty of freaking darts. You guys are hooligans, dude. Look at all these. Don't talk about a minigun. Look at what she's shooting me with. What do you mean a minigun? She has a minigun. What is this? Talk about getting a bigger gun. Bigger freaking gun, my ass. Where's the... Dang... See that thing was out of bullets? You guys keep asking for me to get shot. Rude. That's why I need to be standing so I can like bounce around. Get her a better one. That's the nicest Nerf gun I've ever seen. That thing costs more than the table I want.
Couple more questions for you, and they're kind of the big ones. And yes, people, it's about the thing that you want us to talk about. We're saving it for the end. I've been doing this for a while. I want to take a few questions from the chat right now before we get to it because we're actually doing okay on time here.
All right.
Is the inventory rework, is it just UI or will it actually apply any additional functionality to stacking and unstacking and stuff like that.
There's additional functionality, but obviously the big of the groundwork was the UI, usability. But if you look at the
This guy is putting bits towards more darts. Y'all. Y'all are
mockups,
ridiculous.
right? You also see equipment. So it's not just inventory, it's actually equipment plus assignment on your character. So the paper doll approach. There's also some other elements like proximity inventories that are part of that, which are pretty large functionality-wise.
Hold on, I'll give you guys a quick look at what this looks like. We've gone over some of the other features. This is a big one. This is a biggie. Like my man Just Game 1945. It's an oldie but a goodie. The inventory's been around for as long as games. Well, maybe not that long, but it's been around longer than I have. And Star Citizen's taken a while at theirs, but here is a quick look at what they've been working on.
And we're working on these filters being multi-purpose. What I mean by that is, at the moment, filters, you click them once and it means I want to see these items. If you were to click them twice, it would hide that category of item. Now, there's a lot of people with freight elevators full of decorations they don't really care about at the time, so they can just hide all the decorations if they want to. Clear filters.
Matt Sully said, Mrs. Tomato, if you want more darts, we can hook you up. We can go bigger than that. I don't want to know. Yeah, they've got proximity looting here and inventory. You can see like they obviously it needs to call out the quality of the materials you're mining, the items you have, their charge percentage. You guys know that these items are going to be based on batteries. You're going to have to change the batteries out on the tools you have. So we'll have to be able to see that. You can stack stuff, obviously. It's talking about where things are equipped, how many of a certain things you have, the timers on things. There's a lot more functionality in this than there was in the inventory we had before, and obviously the stats.
Whoever it was crafted by, we have taken into consideration wear and tear with integrity and durability, and I suppose you know there's more than 3 stats on a weapon, so if you were to right click and details, you get the full view, the scroll bar, the attachments, description which can be expanded, and then the same.
So yeah, that's what he's talking about when he's mentioning all this functionality and stuff coming in.
So some other elements like proximity inventories that are part of that, which are pretty large functionality-wise, and I think will have an impact. So it's not just UI. There's a lot more client architecture also. The way the UI pulls the data, caches the data, and displays it.
More Twitch drops. There will be more Twitch drops this year. Already in that. Yes to medical. Why didn't Levski mold situation have us rescuing NPCs with medical ships? We'll talk about that in 2 weeks when we've got Elliot and Torsten on the show here. We'll talk about that whole event and stuff. So we'll save that question for them so they can speak about their own work. When Nix won this year.
Yeah.
That's something that got me in trouble. One thing I hope, and I got articles. CRG spokesperson says he hopes this will be whatever. I'm like, oh yeah. Let's see. There was one more. There was one more. I can't find it. There was one more question I want to sneak in before the questions that are already on here. All right. This section is called Final Hot Seat Stuff.
I just read Final Hot Stuff.
You missed a word. Things that are happening in the game today. Economy exploits. And if you're watching the show and you're wondering why I'm talking about economy exploits, it's because I'm going to get to the next question that you've got, the question you've had the whole time. So,
yeah,
let's talk about the economy exploits.
Sure.
What's happening?
There are exploits.
Be better.
Well, so in terms of the economy in general, right? There's a couple. I think we're up to 7 or 8 right now. So first of all, we have a strike team on this at the moment, right? Looking at all these different things. There's a couple of ways in which there's been potentially duping, ways to earn rewards they're not supposed to have.
I think we're beyond potentially.
No. Well, yeah.
Okay, fair.
And so we're looking at all these exploit vectors, right, to fix them. Obviously, that needs to be prioritized. The big conversation that was spawned from that is like, we're a game in development, but we're also delivering a live service, right? And so we don't have a framework for this in that internally. When we get exploit reports, we don't necessarily automatically prioritize them. So the conversation that was spawned was like, okay, well, there are going to be exploits, right? Every game has a series of exploits for its entirety of its life, right? No game has no exploits. And so the question is more, how do you respond for it, right? And so historically, exploits have always taken a lower priority to ongoing development, right?
I'm going to jump in. You're tense switching between past and present here. I want to be clear. You're talking about the past right now.
The past.
He's tense switching a couple times. It makes it sound like he's talking about today.
No.
It's like this.
In the
We're talking
past,
about the
yes.
past, guys.
So in the past, right, exploits would fall. There'd be bugs like any other, right? Depending on the severity, sometimes they got escalated, but we didn't have a process for this. So now the conversation is about when we do get an exploit report, how do we deal with it? Like, how do we escalate it? How do we
Just
respond
ignore
to
it completely.
How do we deal with it, right? And so for the current ongoing exploits that we know about that have a damaging effect on the economy, currently we're dealing with them the same way we've dealt with the other hero strike teams. And so we're looking at each one of them and confirming the fixes, right? Because sometimes, you fix an exploit, there's a second vector right away. So those are complicated fixes sometimes. So we're dealing with these things right away. But the big thing that also this puts in light is that even a minor exploit at the moment has a very large effect on the economy because there are many limits that are not in place. And so at the moment, we're also looking at overall economy design and limits around, selling, inventory capacity, exchange limits, ongoing active tracking of player trades and or large purchases, things like that. Now we want to make clear that we want the economy to be fun and movable, but we also need some protectionism behind it. And so that's what we're looking at the moment. Now I don't have all the solutions. I didn't write them out or show them out, but this is the spirit that we're in at the moment on these economy exploits.
You're being very diplomatic about something. I want to point out some of the struggle with talking about this.
Yeah.
We can't
tell you how we're going to fix it.
We can't tell you. We can't tell people what we're doing.
Yes.
Because every single. Let's back this up a bit. So an exploit exists. Whatever timeline you want. We'll just make it simple. We'll make it real simple and do days for the point of conversation here. Exploit exists on day 0. On day 1, it comes to our attention. By day 2, we figured out what's causing it. We cause it. On day 3, we could fix it potentially, depending on the severity link. But we don't automatically do that because there's stuff to be learned by leaving it. In certain cases, we find more information out about who's doing it. We find where it's coming from. About other vectors, we found like any bug. Okay, we found this cause, but sometimes there's 5 other causes for every bug. So you find this cause of an exploit, but maybe there's 4 other causes for that same exploit. And if we patch this one up right now, we may hide the other ones and we won't discover them for much later. It's like this. There's this incredible dance that I get to sit here and watch.
Sure.
I get to sit here and watch you guys do. Occasionally, I speak up with a thing, and you're very kind to humor me here and there from time to time. But I get to watch you and the player experience team and your programmers and everybody involved do this amazing dance of finding these things and researching these things and working out how they happen. And we can't. It's one of those things. We come here on a show and I want to talk about it. We were talking about this last night, but we can't go through all the methodologies. No. We can't discuss all solutions because then knowledge is power. And if they know what we're doing and they can move around it, it's this incredible dance that is frustrating, and it can often look like we're sitting on our hands doing absolutely nothing.
That's right.
Dirty gravy, dude. Thank you for the super chat on YouTube. He said, "Shine, shine. We love to see it." I don't know if I'm shining or is that for Lurch? Valentino, happy anniversary, man. Hope you're having a good time sitting in the car waiting. At least there's air conditioning, right? Or heat if it's cold. I don't know.
And that's an unfortunate, frustrating side effect of the proper way to do this.
Yeah. Well, every time it touches security, anti-cheat, economy, exploits, it falls in that. It's going to fall into that area where we can't be as transparent as we'd like to be.
And they're saying it in chat now, and they're not wrong. Like cheats and exploits have sunk so many games.
Yeah.
We have to get a hold on them. We have to get a handle on them. We have to fix them and whatnot. And again, but it's this dance. It can't always be right away.
Right.
It can't. At least that's one of the things that Alpha affords us. We take the time to make sure that we do it right. Take the time to make sure we research. Take the time that we're actually finding all the bad actors and blah, blah, blah. It's just, at the same time, it's annoying because you want to go to Reddit, you want to go to Spectrum, you want to go to Twitter or whatnot, and just scream, we're on it, we're doing it, whatever, but you can't tip your hat anything. You can't, it's because every...
Well, I put my colon eyes colon emoji sometimes on stuff on Spectrum. Just to, oh, you know.
You can't say
checking
we're
this out.
actively chasing this one because then the people are using it scatter and we don't find them. It's like this.
Exactly.
It's one of the hardest aspects of game development communication, especially for a project like us that prides itself on being as open as we are. You know, people will be like, open development, I can't believe you're not telling us. That doesn't mean it's open. I'm like, open development means we're more open than any other person, any other company in the history of the medium. It doesn't mean we share every single thing, every single moment, the minute it comes out. I do sometimes and I get in trouble.
Not true. I want to know what is being had for breakfast by the devs in the morning. I need to know how the nutrition is being distributed.
But
that's our money.
It's really difficult.
It's a difficult balancing act for sure.
It's terrible because there's been so many moments when I want to go out and scream, we got this, we're on it, we're doing this, it's fixed, but we just can't. You can't because it makes it harder. It makes it harder to do.
Well, yeah, and you're gonna miss things. That's the main thing.
But
you know, hey, can we flip seats for a second? Because you know, you just grilled me for what? How long have we been going for now?
Almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I have one question that I want to switch seats for. You ready for it?
You want to ask me a question?
I want to ask you a question. I want to grill you on one, at least one.
I can see you looking at your laptop like you got notes. All right. What do you?
I have my note question right here.
What do you have for me, Manuel?
So is the battle cruiser actually happening? Is that thing actually going?
Whiplash.
Oh boy.
Just whiplash. What does that have to do with anything?
You know, yeah, it's whiplash. Let's go.
Let me see if I'm being yelled at already.
Yeah, check this out. Do 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 do.
I'm not.
What are you doing, Jared?
I'm not actively being yelled at.
Good.
Yes, the battlecruiser is coming.
Yes.
It's a tried and true manufacturer. Not one of these new hotness manufacturers. One of the older
Anvil.
manufacturers of the verse.
Gotta be Anvil.
It sure. And I did say this last time, so this is not new information. The manufacturer thing is new information. But our big giant military combat themed event that we do every year around May is probably a pretty good time to expect it. And it will be the and as we said before, it will be it is our intention to make it the last concept we do. We made it through.
It's going to be rough. Honestly, that's going to be a rough concept release because we've already gone through the whole concept sales are no longer a thing. I even made a big video about it, so this is going to come out and obviously it's going to be the whole I thought concept sales weren't a thing anymore kind of thing. But it is nice that it'll be the last one. It's also going to be the kind of thing that I'm hoping they release after they've released the Squadron 42 release date, and they can be like, Squadron 42 is coming out in 3 months. Here is an Anvil battlecruiser. You buy this, you get like, at least they could package it with like a special edition version of Squadron, because you know it's going to be hundreds of bucks, if not thousands. You know it's going to be a really bad look. You know a lot of people are going. It's going to get a lot of press outside of the Star Citizen community. I wish that it wouldn't happen, but it's going to happen. So we'll see how it goes. But I do think like they could at least have a game to announce alongside it. Yeah, they said it would be the last when they announced no new concept sales, but they also said like that they weren't going to release everything that was shown at CitizenCon 2023 in the following year. They also didn't say there was going to be a wipe for 4.6. They also didn't say that there was a release date for Squadron 42 in 2020. But none of these things matter when the when the screaming matches online start. So the best they can do is work on the optics a little bit so it comes off a bit better. Yeah, it's going to be thousands, huh? It'll be bigger than the Javelin too, yeah. I mean, is it going to be bigger than the Bengal is the question. You think Squadron will be given a release date at one of the big gaming cons? Here's the thing. Invictus Week is right next to Summer Games Fest. And then the other one is Gamescom, which they've made announcements at. Those are the two most likely times I think they'll make an announcement. Bengal is a carrier. Okay. Carrier is bigger than battlecruisers. So biggest ship we can probably own in the game. They just couldn't let the Javelin have it.
Without a concept. with a single concept promotion. We do not have a single concept promotion scheduled for 2026. Other than this battlecruiser, we don't have a single concept promotion scheduled for 2027. This will be the last one. It's an old Kickstarter thing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So
It's happening.
it's happening. It's happening. We're going forward. I'm not going to tell you anything more about it now. But yeah. So, okay.
Is it big?
You got anything more? that it? You get your one out?
Is it big?
It's very big. It's very, very, very big.
That's all I got.
That's all I'm gonna say. Okay. So,
That's all we get. It's
So-
big.
just sneak it right in there. Just piece of shit. That's my one for the show. All right, then fine. Wipe. Wipe.
We were doing so good.
Wipe. I held them off. Wipe.
Right. So, okay. We're not planning a wipe. We're planning.
Good night, everybody.
No way! I can't f***ing believe it! It's like logic prevails! Sorry.
We're planning. We're looking at targeted actions, right? But we're not looking at a wipe for the moment. And so we want to keep on rolling. First of all, there's a lot of some of the work we've discussed. Obviously, I can't share the details of what we're doing with.
They're gonna be like, Benoit said wipe on Star Citizen Live. There's gonna be one for like another month now. Is there a wipe coming in 4.7? Is there a wipe coming in 4.7? I heard there's a wipe coming in 4.7.
That needs to be completed. So for now, we're not intending a full blanket wipe at all.
No, this goes back to what we were saying before about the biggest quality of life thing. All this work going into long-term persistence and to item recovery V1 stuff. It's about, and the freight elevator. It's about making sure you keep your stuff.
Yeah.
Making sure you keep your stuff. Making sure you keep your stuff. Making sure you keep your stuff. So we've got tools. We've got logs. We've got
A lot of logs.
We got a lot of logs. We got a
lot
lot
of
of information. A lot of information. So it is our intention to do a targeted correction
Correct.
to those areas that
Are
need it,
problematic. For that need.
and preserve as much of the gotten gains of the everyday Star Citizen as possible.
Exactly.
Nope. Too many words. Wipe confirmed.
So no blanket wipe.
That's right.
Nope.
Okay.
That's not what I heard.
So we've answered that. That's done.
No, it's a f***ing wipe on the way. That's
What else you got?
Just hit me with a bow cruiser. Oh, I got a message. Hold on. Where's that? I skipped it. Was the battlecruiser mentioned in SEL just now planned? Lol. Planned by somebody.
Whoa.
yeah, Benoit, CTO. See,
All right.
do you get in trouble for that?
No comments. No comments about the size other than it's big. It's big. It's just big and it's cool and it is so damn cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it. Oh
Cool.
no.
Yeah.
One last question.
Yeah.
Tell me something we don't know about. Tell me something we should be excited about that we're not currently excited about.
That's fun.
Give us something nobody's expecting.
That's hard. You're putting me on the spot now.
I'm putting you on the spot, Mister. Is the battlecruiser coming?
Okay. Well, one thing we didn't talk about in detail that I could give background info on is Genesis.
He's like, something you should be real excited about is that we're going to do a progress wipe in 4.7. Then just end the episode.
Okay.
And Nick's one, right?
Okay.
So, I mean, we're obviously working on this. That's no surprise to anyone. But the one thing that I'm excited about is that we've kind of conjoined development on 3 separate things in order to ship the best Nix experience that we could offer, right? And so, obviously, Genesis is part of that, and the Planet Tech that's behind it. But also,
Phase 2.
the Starchitect work. And so,
Hey,
for those
phase
who don't know,
2.
Starchitect is a way for us to be.
I actually think Starchitect might be phase 3, one or the other. But that is nice to hear. So they are combining just context is always key. Always. So they did a demonstration on Genesis here last year. But this is actually, if you look at the subtitle down there at the bottom, you can see phase 1 is the planets, the biomes, the planet tech, the stuff that we are excited for. Phase 2 is locations. This is where Ian came out and actually talked about how they were going to expand their location database using Starchitect. So that was phase 2 of Genesis. Genesis was 5 phases in total. Phase 3 was the AI advancements, how AI was going to better understand and move around the planet. Phase 4 being light and sound, ray tracing, global illumination, stuff like that. Phase 5 was the Star Audio additions, and Phase 6 was natural dynamic weather. So it looks like they are trying to get Phase 1 and 2 in there together, and I think it seems like he's talking about a third one. Let's see.
Smarter about building planets and the human populations that are on them. So settlements, buildings, distro centers, LZs, name it, right? So historically, we've placed that by hand. And so Starchitect is a way for us to give designers control over the planetary scale of how these are distributed. And that's a fairly fundamental change to how the game is made. And the third one is what we call the population control / population manager. So currently you have AIs in the game, right, that are sometimes hand placed, sometimes dynamically spawned. We've talked about
spawn like a
gazillion
just hitting a
times.
spawn button.
Yeah, which is my biggest pet peeve. By the way, that's my trigger point. If you want to trigger me in a meeting, just tell me there's another overspawn issue. But anyway, so population management and control is a third component of this. So I'm excited about this because as we're working towards the next one, we're aligning all those 3 things into one strike team to deliver that together.
Cool.
So
yeah, the worst part about the locations right now is how empty they are. They don't have character. They're not unique, really. They don't feel like they have reasons or cause. You can't even see them producing goods or consuming goods. So all that kind of stuff, especially with spawning NPCs and getting them doing things at these locations, is much better than just dropping in locations.
I'm excited about that because those are like 3 major development pieces that Star Citizen needs to scale that we're bringing in together. So for pop control, instead of having all these either hand-placed or dynamically spawned AIs in key areas, that's a system that will basically manage the server capacity of AI agents to be able to distribute them at the right place, but also spawn the right AIs for the right jobs, manage the priority of these spawn requests, all that stuff. And so it's such a much more scalable system that will allow us to really build up a dense universe than we've had before. So I'm excited about the fact that those 3 projects are part of the same kind of drive at the moment. That's the first thing I would say that you guys don't know about that we're going to bring together. The second one, there are some hints of this in the game already. So I know some of the techies look into the game client, try to find some stuff. I'm not going to go into more details about this, but we talked about sim rigs. We talked about how the experience in the sim rig is. So VR is a great thing if you have a sim rig, right? Obviously, having the headset on is such a more dense experience. We're also working at improving our peripheral support, so being able to feed information, non-damaging information, to peripheral manufacturers, so be able to enable them to make custom Star Citizen experience for the sim rigs. And also, we're looking at
becoming literally a honeypot for tech gaming. this game is. They're just getting all of the coolest little gadget workings so that if you're the kind of person who likes a techie gaming experience, love it.
Currently in the process of looking at motion and motion platform support for the game. And so I think that's something we haven't talked about specifically.
Motion platforms?
But I'm mega excited about it because
opening up the API.
Opening up basically the motion systems to be able to leverage that, on the key elements. So I think that's something that I'm super excited about.
How am I ever gonna... All right, we're gonna have to put up a new stream goal. First we need a desk, but after that, we're gonna put up a stream goal for a full-on sim kit. I'm kidding. We probably should pay off our car first.
Because that's just another level.
There's that new Corsair keyboard that's got the Stream Deck built into it.
Oh, I need that, but on the left side.
So those would be my 2.
Anything?
God, that'd be so nice on the left.
Player facing for in-game.
It's like literally, can I just show you guys? If you look at this is where this is my keyboard. This is my Stream Deck. Man, you can't even see that. If I could just have this be on the actual keyboard, that would be great because it's right there. That'd be great. But it's on the right side still.
Something. I know about something. We're treating this like it's a big thing. It's not. We just did the big thing. But spawning.
Oh yeah.
Changes to spawning.
Well, so we talked about spawn in the hangar, right? And so to build spawning hangar, we had to build a new workflow, right? To be able to determine, can we spawn you there? Is there a requirement for you spawning there, right? So the requirement in the case of spawning hangar is your hangar spawned, right? That's also extended to ships, right? But what we're trying to achieve now I'm not promising this anywhere, but is spawn in place. And so we're trying to extend that workflow for spawn in place so that, you just log in the game and you spawn where you were. And so that's something that we're passionate about and we're trying to get in there. So
log in, log
in,
out,
bam on it.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Not a, you have a bed in a ship, you don't have a bed in a ship. You just wherever you are, get out,
Correct.
get back in, come back right there.
Yeah. Surface of a planet, spawn in place.
Yeah.
As long as you can still spawn there. That's right. There's going to be rules and limitations, but we're looking into that.
Yeah, I feel like we really need to hear the nuance of how those rules and stuff will work, because that's oh boy, that's a big one. That's a whole video on its own.
That is also a big change for the game, to me.
Yes.
That's a huge change.
Yeah. Just
cool. I'm happy you raised that up. I was going to forget about it.
I got you, baby. All right, and at that, we managed. It's 4:57. We're right there.
Hey, right on time.
What do they say at the end of Hot Ones? Tell everybody give everybody your socials. Tell everybody where they can find you. When you do next.
I mean, I guess here in over many months.
We're here until the heat death of the universe.
That's right.
Benoit, thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you as always for coming back. We're doing these about every 6 months. It's what we agreed when we did this.
Kind
first
of a
one
rendezvous
about a year
now,
ago.
right?
Yeah,
it's a good rendezvous.
So we'll see you again sometime this summer.
Yeah,
probably.
sure. Absolutely.
I just want to say, this is our first SCL back. It's actually our first SCL since IAE. We did the all ships Q&A, and then we didn't get to do a whole lot of SCLs last year because of a whole bunch of other changes that was going on, mostly in my life. We're gonna have a lot more SCLs this year. We got a group of like 4 in a row coming in like April, I think, whatever. The chance to have somebody at your level and your involvement take the time out, come be here, answer quite literally any question I put you. You didn't beg off of anything. You didn't do this. So I spent the part giving the tech teams their props and the programmers their props and the strike team their props, and I want to sit here and give you your props. Thank you so much for being here. Far more than I would give Jens, who won't come on the show.
It's a rendezvous now. That's it.
I know.
I appreciate it.
I love the anti.
I love coming here and chatting about Star Citizen. And if you ever meet me in a Bar Citizen, it's the same thing. So, just do it live.
Thanks so much, guys. What is in the orange box? Oh, that was at the beginning of the show on the Twitch version. It won't be on the YouTube version, but that's just toys. It has nothing to do with work. We were just nerding out a little bit at the beginning of the show. Thanks for watching, everybody. We're back next week with a behind the ships special on the next spacecraft making its way to the Star Citizen persistent universe. John Cruz in there, and Ben Curtis is in there, and Torsten Lyman is in there, and some other people, because I'm not really good with names, whatever. The second I started calling out names, I knew it was a mistake. Chris Danks is in there. So, who? Batu? Batu's in this one? Yeah. I filmed with Batu?
Yeah. There's a Batu?
He's great. Wow, they really run together. Sorry,
Batu works at CIG.
That's next week. An exciting new spaceship Mon.
It's my brother's name.
Making its way to the persistent
my
universe
brother-in-law's
next week.
name.
In those little middle things, we talked about it in ISE. The big patches in January and March and May, it's like this, and then these interesting little content drops in the middle. So we're going to add a new ship in the middle of a patch drop, and for the first time in the history of our project, we'll see how that goes.
Let's do it.
Let's get it. There's a press article.
It should work.
So thanks for watching. I'm Jared. That's
awesome.
Benoit. You're the amazing Star Citizen community. What are you doing with the cameras? Oh my God.
Somebody was having a lot switching around.
See you later, everybody. Bye.
Have a good one.
He has become one of the big faces of CIG at this point. Oh, Benoit, yeah, he has. Really just phenomenal story how that has all happened. Listen, I talked enough during all of this, so I am going to not talk anymore. I hope you enjoyed this look through of this. We do this all the time on the live stream if you're interested in joining us just to chat about stuff going on and look at the development and how it's progressing and what's coming up next. It's my favorite part of things to do. I will be back with you guys tomorrow. We'll be in the game for some interesting stuff. A little bit of a surprise there, but slightly related to Wednesday. I got some gameplay planned for you guys tomorrow, so I hope you join me. I'm gonna send you all on over to another lovely Star Citizen streamer, one who has been on the podcast, and I do, we've worked together a couple times, but I haven't gotten to see him stream in quite a while. I'm gonna send you all over to Loud Guns, good YouTuber, makes great content, kind guy, real wholesome. Y'all have a wonderful day. Enjoy yourselves and take care. You know, do something you love. Give yourselves a hug. As always, it's real easy. You just put your arms around yourself. Eat something you like, though, and do something you like. You're good people. The best company. And awesome Fridays. Awesome Fridays, Friday people. Toes Gang. Twitch. Y'all went off today. I'm sorry. YouTube did not match that. So we will try to get the giveaway in the next one. But thank you so much. You're appreciated. You're awesome people. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye, folks.